I just took a drink of water. Sorry about that.
Off to a good
Oh,
start.
hello, everyone. My name is Darren Moose, and welcome to another DaraChat. There's actually a long time ago, I had a, because I know everyone calls it like cast, they put cast at the end. So I was like, I did like a little poll thing on Twitter X, like, what would be better, DaraChat or DaraCast? And barely anyone voted, but one person put DaraChat, and I'm like, all right, there we go.
Got it.
Fate spoke. And there, yep. So I did that. So Dare Chat it is. So there's a lot of people do Dare Cast. So yeah, it's just one of those things. But anyway, but thank you. The sir on this channel, his name is JT. Actually, the full thing is JT, uh, CEO of the Badgers. I, I like to know how you came up with that funny ringtone right there.
Yeah. So, hello all. That is one of those things. So, you don't know me too well.
Yeah.
I'm a goofy dude. I have a goofy sense of humor. It doesn't take a whole lot to make me laugh. Like I grew up, Naked
Mm,
Gun, all that really absurd
yeah.
comedy,
Yeah. Yeah.
slapstick off the wall. Like the goofier, the funnier,
Yeah.
So one day I'm sitting there like JT's cool and all, but CEO of Badgers would be kind of funny. So there we go. It doesn't mean it has no significance to me. It's just I think it's funny.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, I've told this I tell this story countless of times, but my username is though the reason I created it part of the reason I created is because when you go to a site or whatever, you have to, if you really like a username you've had before, you kind of come to site and it's like, oh, I've got to create numbers after it in order to have it. So it's like, I at one point I got tired of that and I just started making up a name. Now I'll let you have a guess of what the name is based off of, because
Vermouth?
yeah, there you go. See, yep. And I took. It's not. I don't drink alcohol by any means, but it's just the word alone. No, it's like when you hear
Yeah.
chop suey. So I took that word alone. And I was like, what? Vermouth. It sounds so out of there, just the way you say it. Vermouth. Like it's like almost Vermont, but it's not really. And so I played around with it. So my fan account has the first rendition, um, and then the secondary rendition or whatever is Daramuth. So I just now the E at the end is silent. Obviously, we all know about our language lessons. I before E except after C and all that good stuff. But yeah, so the E is silent. But yeah, I just took the sounding of vermouth and just kind of transcribed it over. And I haven't had to have a number at the end of it for anywhere I've taken it.
It's the
So
dream.
that's right, baby. I created it. It's mine. Copyrighted. I don't remember the date.
You
So,
have the
but
hat and everything, man. You got it.
well, well, yeah. This was sort of just an out of a blue thing, right? So there's a mall near where I live, and in this mall, they have a store that where you can make your own hats or buy, like sports hats, whatever, like Chicago Bulls, whatever. And so I had a funny thought of like, it'd be kind of interesting. I didn't think of it as like a marketing thing. I just thought of like it'd be cool. Like I have my username on the hat and all stuff, and of course, red is my favorite color, and of course, not too many colors work well with red, so it's like red and white. And I know people are gonna
Yeah.
whatever. And so I did that, and then I just had the hat itself and all that comes with it, probably close to 48 to $50. So it
Oh,
was not
nice.
cheap. It wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
But so I got that done. And I was like, it's sort of like that. There was a gentleman a long time ago, right? He made a book where he said he had like a name tag. You know, I can't remember what the book was about, but it was something to do with the name tag, right? He would wear his name tag all about, and people would just look at whatever. He eventually got a tattoo of that name tag on his chest. I'm like, well, that doesn't help if he's covered it with his shirt. So, but
Yeah.
but yeah. So it's sort of like my name tag, and it's just like, but then you have to kind of sound it out for people because they Dara mouth, and it's like, no, it's Dara Moose. If you know the
Right.
base word, so. But yeah, that's the funny thing. Like I have a funny sense of humor. Like I can laugh at myself during when I'm doing my solo uh Dara chats, because sometimes you just have to go with it, and it's just I can make fun of myself. So, but
Oh yeah, I rarely take myself seriously.
because if you do, right, it makes the process of doing what you would like to do um unfun,
Oh yeah.
right? It's
I once, so I'm a nerd, right?
right.
And on my stream for a while, I had a an idiot counter. So every time I called myself an idiot, the
Yeah.
counter would increment. And I had a voice recognition thing that's like, oh, whenever he says I'm an idiot, increment the counter. So
Oh no.
it kind of worked. I got rid of it because I couldn't get it to work like super well,
Right.
but I mean, it was, I was seeing, 10, 15. Like I would do it, in a 2 hour stream, I was probably saying it like every, I don't know, every 2, 3 minutes. Like
Yeah.
that's me.
You piece of that. God
Yeah.
dang it.
Nope, it's just me. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've always found it funny where, for cursing, people always go back to like the 6 or 7 words. I'm like, why wouldn't you just make up your own, right? Like there was an animation, a cartoon that, used to be made by Disney when it was good a long time ago. It was called Recess. And in the show, TJ, who was sort of like the main character of his group, he made up a word womp. And it really didn't have any meaning. It was his form of a curse word. And he would get in trouble with it because it's like they hear a curse word, nothing, oh, it must be that. But he's like, I just made it up. So
Right.
it's just one of those things, like you can just make up a word, like, or you can do like one of those really long insults, like you are such a bad piece of bubblegum wrapper under a shoe that's been walking all day long down a 2 mile, sweating to death, being pooped on by a dog, that stuff. So it's just
That's how my
like
kids. Yeah, my kids could whip that out, man. My kids would nail me with that kind. They do now. Those children.
you ever you ever see that on Twitter? You never see that on Twitter X where someone just writes this long
Oh
paragraph
yeah.
of just one long insult. It's just no F you. It's like no, take it longer. Take
Yeah.
it long. You keep going until like, how do we respond to that? You just like that's of course that's what you
You just
do.
say cool story, bro, and you peace. You bounce.
You you won the argument because he couldn't come back with a paragraph of just low down insults.
Yeah, I'm not reading War and Peace. I'm out. You win.
there was I don't know if you know, but there was commercials, right? There was commercials on either as Orbit or something, and they, their thing was about having clean from a dirty mouth, whatever. And
Oh yeah.
they had that one commercial where they were just they just bite the gum and they were just making insults like clean and just like you dirty lip licker and all this stuff. And I was like, wow, that's actually a real way to go.
Those were perfection, man. I loved those commercials back in the day. Heck yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then of course, like the Grey Poupon ones and all that stuff. Like those were some. And then
Where the dude rolls up by the car, rolls down the window. Pardon me, sir. Oh yeah.
Do you have the Grey Poupon? or Yokiro Taco Bell?
Oh yeah, that was good too. The dog. Man.
Oh man, you start thinking about those old commercials. Like, man, why is it all Cialis all the time? Where are those? Where are the other commercials?
Yeah, it's all Cialis or some kind of drugs now.
Yeah, and it's
Crazy.
just and the thing of it is right is that they say it and they say what it'll do for you, and then they have this long like onto the microphone like, and that'll make you have a seepage in your butt or something like that. No, you just have this long line of stuff, and you're just like, that doesn't sound good.
I heard one the other day. Like they did the big pitch, oh, it'll cure, just about everything on the planet. This is awesome. And then they go on to say, if you're allergic to this, don't take it. Like, what? No kidding. Like, why would you? Sorry, I just found that like really absurd. Like, if you're
Yeah.
allergic to the ingredients, don't take it. Like, no kidding. Who's what?
That's like the most oxymoron thing you can do. It's just like,
It's
are you
just
allergic to it?
I'm allergic to peanuts, So let me go, see Mr. Peanut. Like, what the hell? Like, that's the dumbest thing you could do.
Just think like you have an allergy, right? And you have to take an EpiPen, but you can't
Yeah,
take the EpiPen because you're allergic to that.
right. So you're done. Like, crazy.
Yeah, it's just like, man, I don't know why I still feel puffy. You might want to look at that EpiPen.
Yeah,
Oh,
about that.
yeah, that's too funny. Yeah, it's just when you get to sit down and kind of just take a gain of something. Because it's like with social media too. I can't tell you how much social media feels like wading into a swamp, and people call it a fun time.
Ooh, I I spend an awful lot of time on X during the workday. I work from home, so
Oh, nice.
um yeah, so I'm usually plugged in dang near every day. And
Mhm.
man, X has its days. Sometimes it is fun, but a lot of the times it's just people shouting out into the void. Like I don't know, maybe people are missing out on connection or something. I don't know what
I
it is.
I can see the advent of technology or smartphones, whatever, is that it allows us to connect from afar, right? Like family members, whatnot. The issue of it is though is that it becomes an addiction itself.
Oh yeah.
You remember when what was it, Candy King or Candy Crush or
Oh,
whatever
Candy
it was?
Crush
You remember when that was a big thing back in the day and people were just like
everywhere.
it was just everywhere, but they made a lot of money off of it.
Oh, of course they did.
And it was just like it's the new it was a new addiction. And nowadays it's sort of like social media is the new addiction because of course you get the ping, like I don't get me wrong, I'm not free from that either.
Yeah.
But the point of it is when you can kind of sit down and take yourself back. And obviously, if you're a content creator, you're kind of stuck with that because you have to communicate to your people, or you have to use all these different platforms, which I don't use like 100 different platforms. I just use these few because it's just a headache enough as it is. There's always this simple. It's always that for saying less is more, right?
Yeah.
Less is more. I'd rather stick with that, to be honest. But yeah, and I'm not very fond of much of Twitter X, but I kind of still need to use it. So it's kind of like,
Hmm.
and that's where my fan account comes into the picture because my actual account was suspended without reason.
Oh, nice.
When I saw it like the first time, I was like, okay, what happened? What? No email, no nothing. So I went to appeal it. Like the email came back said, we at Twitter X reserve the right to blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay, but there's no answer to why I was. Did it again, same answer. So I'm at my 11th or 12th appeal, same
Uh,
answer. So
that's no good.
I don't think I ever get back. But hey, fan accounts are fan accounts, and that's the way it is. So, but yeah, I was grateful that I was able to cancel my, like $8 a month thing on my on that account because I'm like, I'm sorry, Elon, you didn't
No
give me a
money for
reason.
you.
Yeah, no money for you. Why would I give you money when you can't even tell me the reason? So
Yeah, right.
whatever. So, but that's just the way it is. Like with YouTube, right? I can't tell you how many times this is funny, right? And I understand because you're on the platform, so you have to get somewhere. I can't tell you how many times it's funny to see these content creators, big ones and small, big ones because they're the only ones that are going to get noticed, right? They go onto Twitter X. They say YouTube support. This isn't right. Why did you do it? Maybe they'll get
Crickets.
yeah. Well, sometimes they'll get crickets and sometimes they'll get a response back. But my thing is right. You're using the platform and you're not spreading yourself out enough to not worry about it too much. Like I would understand like if it's the only place you're making money in, yes, you would be concerned. But
Yeah.
it doesn't for me it does not make sense because at the end of the day, content creation is about owning your content. And obviously you sort of own it on a platform, but you own it more when one place is not the only place you have it.
This is fair.
So so it
I'm on the multi-stream train.
right.
If I could do it right now.
Good.
With that partner program, there's a bunch of exclusivity, so it's like I don't have time to, do my 1 hour on X, Twitter,
Yeah.
YouTube, whatever, and then
Yeah.
then do my 2 on Rumble only. Like uh, I miss the multi-streaming. I really enjoyed it. It's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
I kind of look at it from a different way. Like I'm never afraid of not owning my stuff. We were talking beforehand. I save everything locally, so
That's
you
good.
know I keep everything archived anyway. So I'm not afraid of losing it. So like if Rumble decides, you're done, all your content deleted, like I'm okay. I have it.
Right.
I'll just
Um,
zip it somewhere else and good to go. Not that it's like Mona Lisa tier content or anything. I'm not saying that, but I have it and it's
right.
mine.
Yeah.
um, but I really do like the multi-streaming thing. I like the people who can pull it off. I just I don't like managing so many chats, but I
Yeah.
totally get why you would do it. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, no, I get the exclusivity thing because beforehand Rumble has those contracted people, right? And so
Hmm.
they have to do a certain amount. They can multi-stream, but they have to do a certain amount for just Rumble,
Yes.
which is like I don't understand. I mean, I know they had the 2 hours for Rumble for the second,
Hmm.
second round, but my thing is like, why can't they? I didn't know if they could multi-stream or not, and then include those 2 hours. Because for me, while it's great for the exclusivity for whatever that is, like for data usage or whatever, to try to kind of make Rumble better, my issue is that Rumble is still in a tech growing status, right? Too many people on, the server starts blopping, right? And you
Hmm.
can tell, you
Yeah.
can tell, and that's not great. Not even for if you just use third party whatever. It's not great. And so for me, they're improving. Don't get me wrong, but they've got to get to where if a section of what they have went down, you wouldn't notice it too much. Right now, you can notice it when there's too many people on, and especially during an election year, right?
Yeah.
It can get bogged down if there's too many people. It's just like why? So
I think when they set these programs up, Rumble specifically, I think what they were kind of going for with respect to multi-streaming.
mm,
I think they were expecting a lot of these people that had a following on other platforms. They would maybe start like 30 minutes, an hour there, and then say,
mhm.
okay, kind of like how like Crowder does with
Yeah, yeah,
YouTube and Rumble, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
they'd start and then zip over to, okay, we're going to go to Rumble exclusively now. Get over there, and then they would do their 2 hours.
Right.
I don't. I mean, a lot of us small creators, I don't think our followings are that strong to the point
Mm,
where they're going to jump, oh, I was watching you on Twitch. Now I'm going to go watch you on Rumble. Like that's,
right.
you know, I, I'm guilty of this. If I'm watching on one platform and they're like, all right, I'm going somewhere else, I'm usually like, I'll go find someone else. Like I'm going to, I'll stay on the platform,
Right.
once I'm in my habit. So I don't know if that was thought through fully. I get what they were trying to do, but,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah. And again, my thoughts are not to be like a negative, pessimistic downer. It's just to point out that for Rumble itself, it has to it essentially is doing a play of catch up, right?
yes.
Not because it wants to in essence, but because it has to if it wants to be competable. Right
Hmm.
now, YouTube is the king. I'm sorry to tell you, Twitch or Kick, whatever. YouTube is still king. YouTube is still well known, and that's partly because of Google, right?
Sure.
That's partly because of Google. So,
Unlimited funds, man.
oh well, they lose the money, so it's kind of like,
Yeah.
but the thing of it is, right, is that there are things that a lot of people have used on YouTube that they want on other places, right? I'm sure Kick gets its stuff and Twitch, but they're mostly just live stream places. While Rumble is a mixture of both. It's just the video, the recorded videos don't give it as much views. Right?
Right.
Are you sensing something in the distance?
No, no, my wife came in.
Psst, psst, what time is it? You gotta watch. Look.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, again, my things is just trying to bring these things up and let Rumble know that hey, I'm hearing from other content creators. I don't know how to get it to you. I don't know how to whatever than just the online stuff. And of course, they've been responsive. The thing with Lumpy Potato was kind of a nice ordeal. The round table. So of course I wasn't be able to see because my camera. So for some odd reason, on my Rumble Studios, the camera works fine. But on other places, if I'm invited to something else, it doesn't work. I
That's a
figured out,
ripoff.
yeah. Well, I figured I'll have to use like OBS, which I do have. I'll have to use the OBS virtual camera because I did
Hmm.
test it. But the thing of it is, it's like, why aren't you working? So maybe I'll have
Yeah.
to send it in to Rumble Studio support. But other than that, it's they're getting there, but it's it's a lot of crankiness. Excuse me. It's a lot of crankiness because people want what they're used to on the other place. They want other people, at that stuff. Um,
Yep.
It's all about patience, man. And some people don't have patience because they're just like, we want the thing of convenience now, provide it to us right now, blah blah blah. You know how it goes.
Well, it's that's an awfully good point. I feel like Rumble's strategy. I mean, Rumble's been around for like 10 years. Like they're not like a new company by any
20,
stretch.
2013.
Yeah, so they're going on what, their 11th year. Um,
Mm,
they built as a YouTube alternative, and it looks like they were focused kind of strictly on static content, pre-recorded content.
yeah,
Now here, fast forward to like 23, people start streaming on Rumble, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna pivot." So it's not, it's not a simple task for Rumble to just, swerve from we're going to static hosted content, and we're going to focus on live streaming content, right? There's a lot of changes that have to happen. And
yeah.
to their credit, they're moving very quickly. Very, they're making progress, and it's impressive
Mhm.
to say the least. But I think you said it. They do have growing pains, and I think we're going to see that for quite some time. But I'm optimistic. I like what they've done so far.
Yeah.
Or else I wouldn't be creating stuff here.
Yeah, and obviously, my thing is a little different. I hope they at least keep some sort of semi balance between the two because again, you have YouTube which allows both, and of course
Yep.
they've allowed the video stuff, right, to create static videos because again, like you said, that's how they started out. So if you were not wanting that to happen anymore, you would just cut off that ability, but they haven't done that.
Sure.
And for me, it's like I know it's sort of the future, but why do we need another Twitch? Why do we need another Kick? Because at that point, you're just them, right? YouTube has something a little different because it allows both, even though I don't know how profitable that makes it. Probably not enough because they still could report losses. The thing of it is though is that once you've allowed something, other content creators from other, like from YouTube, if they want to come over here and they see they can't put those videos out anymore, it's kind of sort of a turn away, really. And
Yeah.
I know live streams are sort of becoming the thing, but it costs a lot to do that as well.
Oh,
So
sure. Yeah. Transcoding is a pretty resource heavy thing.
mhm,
Um, I mean, it's Twitch doesn't even give it to everyone, but Rumble, I do believe, transcodes just about everything that's served up. And yes, that's definitely not a cheap thing. It's very expensive, but they are
yeah,
building their own stuff, so maybe they cracked the code on that. I don't
yeah.
know, but that's yeah,
Yeah, because both Kick and Twitch are on AWS.
yep,
So that's and we all know what happened to Parler, which was on
yeah,
AWS. So congrats for Rumble to build their own thing. It's just if you want, I would just say I hope that with the new AI personalization thing that's coming, whenever that may be, it will allow for what's the word? It will allow for discovery of both ends because it's like a small wheel feeding into the big wheel, right? Like
yes,
live streams into the videos or vice versa. Um, because if they want to get rid of it, then they need to stop completely of it, like right now. Because otherwise, you're going to have people continually uploading videos. And I think people still want to be able to do that because of what YouTube is still doing. Again, you're going to have comparisons between the two because YouTube is still king. It has so YouTube started in 2005, was bought out by Google in 2006, 2007. So from that point till Rumble came out, that's about 7 to 8 years. Well, yeah. So yeah, 6 or 7 years. Sorry, 6 or 7 years. And then, of course, from that point on to 2023, 2024, they've had about 7 or 8 more years on top of that of building up their infrastructure, the tech, and all that stuff. So technically, YouTube has about 16 to 17 years ahead of Rumble, and Rumble's got to fit that much scale into a few years.
yeah, it's
So,
wild.
oh yeah, it's very wild. But for me, it's just it's an odd thing for me because I just see it being a complication when you have people still making static videos, still doing live stream, and I don't know how well that plays with each other in the sense of how YouTube does it because um, a video recording a video allows someone to schedule ahead of time, right? And so if you're going on vacation, you could still have content coming out while you're on vacation, so you can schedule it for whatever. With live streaming, you can't really do that.
Right. You said something that really got the gears turning. So when you mentioned discovery, right? Um, just this week, I've been looking at, I kind of poke around Rumble and I try to find content because Discovery just, it is what it is. It's not so great right now.
Yeah, right now.
There are people uploading static content, and there's some good content being uploaded right now.
Yeah.
You just have to go find it. Now you say that AI recommendation engine that could be big. Like I said, there's good content being created and uploaded.
Yeah.
But I think one of the big things with Rumble that I truly like is I can do my live stream. Like I do primarily live stream content.
Right.
And when I'm done, that becomes static content automatically. I don't have to do a thing, and that's great.
They call it VODs,
VOD.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
VOD.
okay.
I like that. So that piece I love. You get that kind of on Twitch, but it goes, it goes away.
Yeah.
So you do your stream, and I think it exists for maybe 30 days or 60 if you have turbo or something.
Yeah.
But with Rumble, you do your live stream, boom, done.
Yeah.
All set. But you totally nailed it with the AI thing, with the recommendation engine. That's going to be huge for the people that do still want to do static content and uploaded content, because I think there's obviously a market for that still. Like YouTube's not backing off of that.
Yeah.
And I think Rumble does that, at least the static piece, fairly well. They don't have a whole lot of catch up to do there.
Yeah.
But they're pivoting. They're focusing a lot of their efforts now on live stream side. But I think the strategy is good.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I understand, because eventually that may be what the future may be. I don't know, because I'm not going to go full.
That was me. Don't worry, that was me.
Oh, okay. I gotta look first. Because it's a different name. It says Cave Badger.
Yeah, I know. That's my actual username.
Yeah,
Badger thing. Get it?
That's one of the things Rumble has issues with, is the whole sort of user channel thing, and that's what YouTube does great at. So they're going to get there, but it's going to be difficult. Yep. So I'm not knocking live streams, because I do most of that. I don't edit. Like, my early videos are just straight me. There is no editing, whatever. But again, there's a pro and con with each side, right? And I can say that because of how long YouTube has been out, it's found that sort of balance. Whether or not it's profitable, don't know. The point of the matter is that it's found that sort of balance where it can coexist with both, and both feed into each other for the user or the channel, whatever it is. Now, of course, that kind of plays an effect. Like, some people have to make a separate channel on YouTube from like gaming to whatever they're talking about, because it can't affect that algorithm. But at the end of the day, they still feed into the same user, depending on. Sure. So I'm not knocking it, because I know there's a future stance. It's just that it's kind of a difficulty when you still have a platform and you're still asking people to come over to the platform. And it's kind of like, oh, just give all that stuff up. Just come for the live streams. And people are like, look, dude, I like making the video content. If you're not going to allow that, I'm just going to, I'm sorry, I'm just going to be over here. And so that's kind of, I think there's a lot of things they take into consideration, and they try to do their best. Don't get me wrong. And obviously I don't want to be like some of those hater people that just downpour negativity. They downpour this. I've invested in some of the stock stuff for Rumble.
Oh, I did too.
Yeah. So I see the possibility of its future. I see it. It's just the growing pain stuff is just what keeps it hard from recommending. Like, one thing that Rumble does great, right? Day one monetization.
Yep.
Tell me who does that.
Nah, you don't get it anywhere else. That's a big deal, and I think people sleep on that hard. Yeah. Like, they really do. Like, people crap on it, and I hate to see it. There's many valid criticisms you can make of Rumble, but the day one monetization, like, no one else is doing it. Like
Yeah.
they win there,
Yeah.
hands down. Like there's no argument.
Well, not only that, but for right now, at least, all monthly subs are 100% to the creator.
Yeah.
Which you have, okay, you have Kick who gives 95%, but how feasible is that in a long haul, right?
Well, that and on Kick, you know, how long is it going to take you to get the ability to have subs, right? You know,
Yeah.
you're still not monetized. So even if you get there, I want to say the bar for entry on Kick is um what is
Moderate.
it, 70 followers? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not simple, you know, for a small guy just starting out that doesn't already have a following somewhere else. It's going to take you some time. But
Yeah.
on Rumble, day one, you're in, you know.
Yeah. You can get, yeah. And the funny thing is that from streaming to both, I have more on Rumble than YouTube. Just because of how big YouTube is. So it's very difficult. But with Rumble beginning as it is, it's a little more easier. The entry's a little more easier. And of course, the community faction to it helps out a lot, right? Again, with Lumpy Potato, Uncle Pudge, and all these guys, there's this community building. Now, obviously, there are sort of these tricky dangers with community, like it can turn on itself or whatever. But because this is a new building platform, people really want to support they want to support the underdog because Rumble is an underdog at this point.
Sure.
Um, but the thing of it is like you said, there are a lot of complaints, a lot of what's the term used? A lot of
Criticisms.
there are a lot of criticisms of that. Yes, need to be listened to, but to which one and to which one will benefit at the moment is more of the difficult question because I don't believe Rick, right? Rick, who's the part of the whatever for the
Yeah,
team.
that's his problem.
Yeah, but he
That's
hasn't.
his job, right?
Yeah, but he wasn't there at the beginning, right? So he's dealing
Right.
with someone else's coding on top of trying to do all the stuff. So you
Well,
have that.
he's got to handle the pivot too. He's got to handle the pivot from being strictly primarily static based to, you know, it looks like the vision and the focus is, you know,
Live
get the
stream.
live streaming side going.
Mhm.
And then I mean, I think the static side is for all intents and purposes in a good place. So,
Yeah.
you know, he's got to manage that whole thing, and I don't envy it. It's probably a pretty tough job.
No. Yeah, and I hope like with you and like with many others, I hope I get to at least have the opportunity to talk to anyone at Rumble. Just not just like you're bad, you guys are awful, you guys are doing it right. You're more like what brought you here? Why are you still here? What keeps you want to keep doing this stuff, especially with Rumble, right? I know there's the whole freedom of speech, which is sort of an iffy thing to do on any social media platform, especially when you're Elon. Um, yeah. Hey Elon, what was that again? It was called freedom of reach. It was called freedom of speech, but not of
Not
reach. I think
reach, yeah.
yeah. I think people keep forgetting that, or it was like lawful but not awful. I think that was yeah. I'm surprised people forget that. Um, but my thing is like it would just be because I know Uncle Pudge got to talk to Rick Rack, and I don't care who it is as long as I can at least get a chance to talk to them and say and have a conversation like we are now because everyone has something different to say. You never know how our perspectives are different. My perspective, your perspective. We get
Yeah.
this thing going where we're just having fun with it, and I'd rather just do that. I mean, I know big or small is all right with me. I don't care which end. It's just having the
Mm.
opportunity to have that conversation because you seem to be like a very funny guy in your own right. So
I'm kind of contrary. I definitely don't. I wouldn't consider myself part of the mono community, like the big monolithic community. I'm
yeah,
kind of on the outskirts of that. Like I'll play with Lumpy every once in a while. You know, he jumped into our Helldivers game the other night.
nice.
Um, but I tend to kind of shy away. I stay kind of in the background. I don't.
All right.
Yeah, you know.
You don't. So what you're saying is you don't seek it out. You just kind of like you're just happy if it happens. In essence.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's more or less it. You know, I try to be I try to keep things generally positive. You know,
Right.
I don't like sitting around and just having a nasty time. You know, just I've played that game before. It didn't go very well.
You're
Um,
like you're like one of those people that just picks their nose, looks at the chat, is like, yeah, I'll just read you all day long. Please give me more money.
oh my God. Okay, I've seen this. I've seen people like that, and
Oh,
have some shame or something. I don't know what it is, but
have
but
some
yeah,
have some goddamn decorum,
dignity.
you fools.
Yeah.
Decorum. I
But
no,
I kind of like. I mean, it's a you said it though. It's a double-edged sword, right? You've got kind of this monolithic, especially in the gaming space, right? There's a very
yes,
well-defined gaming community being built, and it's a good thing.
right.
But as you say, that can turn on itself very, very quickly. Like,
Any community, yep.
yeah, I really do think they need a. You've probably seen me say this on X before, but community manager in the gaming space, they need it like yesterday.
My thing is, especially with, of course, I know it's probably a drag on Rumble. I know we can talk about other stuff. We'll get there. My thing with this thing is that Rumble needs the diversity of content, the diversity of ideas, and right now it's either political or it's the up and coming gamer.
Yeah,
And hopefully with the AI personalization that will help change it. But the thing of it is, right, is that it cannot be one or the other. It needs to be DIY stuff, bushcraft. You need to have pop culture stuff. There's some people I follow, but it needs to be a diverse of from these two strands to a bunch of things because it will not survive on those two strands, especially the political. And I've talked to a bunch. I've heard and talked to a bunch of other people who've thought about it or are content creators who have said, it's just a right wing political place. I'm like, no, 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 it's not that. It may appear that way because if you go to the front page, you could see a lot of that.
well, I was going to comment on that. I mean, that's the stigma they got to kill, right? They've got to kill
Yes.
that, we're a right wing echo chamber stigma. So
Hmm.
I think they've been taking steps to do this. So whenever they brought Barstool Sports on, right?
Yes.
They now have. I just pulled up the front page, so I'm looking at it now.
Yes.
So Barstool has the top shelf.
Yes.
And that takes up a good chunk of the front page, and then there's the live categories,
Yes.
and then there's the continue watching stuff you've already clicked on, right?
Yeah.
Um, honest to Pete, it doesn't look like there's much. I don't see any political stuff right now except for like Republican politics in the live categories. So honestly, that's a big win. Now, killing that perception isn't going to happen overnight.
No.
It's going to take time, but people like you and I having just conversations about stuff. This is the
Mhm.
kind of stuff that can get out there and start working
Yeah.
on people. Just say, hey, no, these guys aren't talking politics at all. Like, sure, they probably feel a certain way, but one of these guys plays games all the time. Like, I try to keep politics as far out of my gaming streams as possible. And,
Right.
I tend to avoid the ones that can't, if they're in the middle of, slaying zombies and they bust into a,
A
Joe
rant.
Biden sucks rant, I'm like, I like, brother, get back to the zombies, please. Like, I'm here to escape that crap. When I'm watching the gaming streams, I don't want to worry about, how crappy life is on the outside. I just want, kill some zombies, get the dopamine fired in my brain, like
Yeah.
give me a good time.
Yeah. Or you could be like, what if Joe Biden was one of those zombies? Ooh.
Right. It's just you can't separate yourself. And it just like, I don't, I play games to get away from that stuff. And I usually gravitate towards streams that do the same.
Yeah, I do say this, well, either when asked or whatever, but I consider all political identities BS. And that's just my stance. I don't, I've voted this way or that way or whatever, but at the end of the day, they're all just tags for the tribe, and I don't see a use for them at all.
That's fair.
Any of them. You can go Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, all of them. They're nonsense. I understand what they're for, but they're all
Sure.
nonsense because what do people mostly do about if something's going on in their community or they see something across the nation news? What do they mostly do? They go online and they complain about it. What
Yeah.
do they do? What do they do after that? Not much. Not much.
They
And
vent and then forget about it.
yeah, it's the funniest thing in the world, right? It's the funniest thing in the world. I will go to the internet and I will complain, and then I will do nothing after because reasons.
Because some guy heard it. Some guy clicked the heart on my X post, and now okay, it's all good. Problem solved.
It's like it's. I know there are people who want a solution, and there may not be one, but at the end of the day, there are simple things to do that you could help out, or maybe you do something that no one cares about and you do it anyway because you want to. Like earlier today, I usually go walking in the neighborhood, just because gets me out, health reasons, all and stuff. So, but
Yeah.
while I walk, I also take a one of those pronger sticks and have a trash bag with me, and I just go while I walk and collect trash. Does anyone else do that in my neighborhood? Well, I found out one does, but that's only one person. But the thing of it is, right? It's like how many people? I mean, I know not all neighborhoods are safe. Not all neighborhoods are
Sure.
safe, so it's fine. But how many people within a reasonable neighborhood go out and just collect trash? Use a long stick. Don't even touch it with your hands. Just use a long stick. Put it in a trash bag. Take that trash. Put it in your trash can. And well, who does that? Right? Not many people, I would think.
Yeah, it's in
And
our community. It's usually the churches that do that.
see, and that's great. That shows
Yeah.
that they are willing to do an action. A lot of people are all talk and
Yeah.
no action.
Yes.
A lot of content creation is built on being that because it makes money.
Yeah. And see,
But
I'm one of those weird birds that I'm totally not in it for money. Like the $500 thing for this creation program, I'm like,
yeah,
I, I'm not doing it for that. I wanted to, one, see if I could get in and get some recognition. That's honestly that was the main thing. I didn't meet the requirements, so I'm just like, I'm probably not getting in. But y'all know how that went.
yeah,
Yay. But that the partner shelf, that is what I was interested in. I wanted to see how that was going to play out. So long
yeah,
story short, I think it worked out really well.
yeah. No, it looks good. You know what they did? That's great. Um, my Oh, I had a point and I lost myself. Oh, great. Now I have to go into the forest. I'm going to try
Oh
myself.
no.
Echo! Marco! Boom! No, that's the thing for me too. Is like I mainly do this to reach out across because most of the time I'm not talking to them, maybe work coworkers, but it's just because I work full time at a job. Not I wish I could do at home, but I'm not that technically smart or whatever. So and even if I had made enough to like do this from off of this, I would still work a part time job because this can go at any time.
Sure.
Uh, but the thing for me is like anything beyond having a conversation with someone else is a bonus, right? Like don't donations, likes, comments, people coming into the chat. They are all bonuses to the ultimate goal of just like I'm reaching across to someone who I know people like, oh, you can interview me or whatever. It's like I don't really want to consider it an interview because yes, I'll ask questions. You can ask me questions, so I guess it's an interview both ways.
Yeah, it's a conversation.
Yeah, it's a conversation. How it's like we have too many conversations about political factor or gaming factor. It's just like why can't we have a conversation that can go anywhere?
Yeah.
Not almost anywhere because there are some places you don't want to go that get a little too dark. But there's
Sure.
yeah. Well, yeah. I just say that because so where do you see that with content creators? They always talk about the news of the day, right? I can't. I maybe if something catches my eye, sure, but we've hundreds to thousands of years of human history, and all we can talk about is the 24/7 news.
Yeah. Well, see, I it's funny you say that. Like I there's so much more to people than just streaming. And I think people lose sight of that.
Yeah.
Like you see these people putting on a show and a lot of streamers, they put on a show, they put on a persona, they
Hmm.
do their thing. Some guys just turn on their camera, play games, act like an idiot. Like I'm in that camp. That's me.
A
Guilty as
little.
charged.
Yeah.
But it's a hobby for me. I like
Yeah.
to play with microphones. I've got a very bad microphone addiction. I love to play with them. I love to buy new ones. I love to
Uh-oh.
It's a horrible rabbit hole. My wife hates it because I'm like, hey, honey, I found one I want to get. What's the price tag? 1,000. Yeah, try
Ooh.
again. um,
No Christmas for you.
yeah, no Christmas, no birthday, no nothing.
Jeez.
But it's a hobby though, right? The
Yeah.
bonus for me is, I get to meet people. I was on a podcast on Saturday
Mm,
with a good buddy, and now I'm chatting with you. I get to play games with buddies from all over the place. I'm
mhm.
gonna play the guy that was in chat earlier, Rab. He's my
Yeah.
buddy. I've known him for 10 years at least, almost.
Nice.
But we play all the time. It's all gravy.
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome because that again is the connection factor which will the connection factor for Rumble will help it more than what YouTube has because YouTube is very disjointed and
Well,
very yeah.
it's very small. The number of people who are creating and actively participating in the community on Rumble is very small. Like, odds are, if you jump around to a bunch of the gaming streams, I say that because those are the ones I pretty much hang out in.
Yeah.
But if you go to these streams, you're going to see the same people chatting over and over and over. Like, you'll see them in this stream, that stream. It's neat because it's such a small
Mhm.
set of people that you can, oh, I know that guy. He's the guy that likes such and such, or this is the guy that won't shut up about that thing. It's you start to tag these folks, but it's neat, because Rumble still does feel like it's in a very early infancy kind of stage,
Yeah.
at least on the live streaming space for games. It seems
Yeah.
like games is really coming on hard.
Yeah, and for me, I know a big chunk of people I've talked to have been sort of in the content creation. Like I've talked to Zatris, I've talked to a few YouTuber ones on here. I've talked to some of the content creators, but I've also talked to people who create content but not here. So, and I've also talked to someone who doesn't create content, but she wants to get into it and stuff. So I've talked to a variation of content, non-content creators, and VTubers, but I guess it's in content creation. My thing would be trying to jump across all bridges and trying to get. Now, obviously, there are a lot of hardcore certain selections of stuff. Like you have the very hardcore religious faction that's on here. You have the very
Hmm.
hardcore political. And I'm fine to talk about politics, but it's not the main reason why we will have a discussion.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, like I said, I'm willing to talk to anyone big or small, well, almost anyone, because there are people who want to make trouble or whatever. But the
Sure.
thing, but the thing of it is, it's trying to get beyond the scope of one section of this or that or whatever. It's bridging the divide. It's bridging the divide across all these places. And of course, Rumble's still in the, like you said, infancy. So yeah, it's just again, it's just trying to get that person, not get that person, but like be able to say in a way that the person will be like, you know what? I'll come on. Well, what's the day and time and all stuff, and we can go from there.
Yeah.
It's still a grind difficulty, but hopefully the more I think the bigger I get, either more followers, whatever, the more perchance people will just have that natural want to come on, right? Because that's what I'm aiming for as well, is to have it to be less me grinding and
Right.
more people just want like, yeah, I've seen you for a while. I'd like to come on. It's like, yeah, we can do that. So sort of a bit, but it's gonna be a long while.
Honestly, you should just ask, shoot your shot at some of these exec guys that are, floating around X, man. I mean, you're a pretty level-headed dude, and everything's pretty neutral. I
Hmm.
don't see why, I mean,
I
I think it could be an interesting conversation between, say you and Rick, or you and
Yeah,
Chris, whoever, just one of the less, I don't know, try to be diplomatic, but like, a lot of people are cheerleaders, right?
yeah,
And you seem pretty level-headed, and you could probably have a pretty focused discussion, and not necessarily like rah rumble. Like,
yeah.
you could probably be a little objective.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know about objectivity because I am still human. I still have my
Oh,
biases.
of course, of course.
That's
No one's perfect.
Yeah, it's still hard to, but it's not like I've praised Rumble. I because I
Oh,
I'm
me too.
still I've still in the I'm supporting it in ways, and also, but I want to support more creators on Rumble than I do, because again, there's more, the monetary value is more on Rumble than, well, maybe you have Kick, but Kick is sort of iffish. It doesn't have rants. You only do monthly sub stuff. Um, but I want to support more on Rumble because the monetary status is there. The ability to say more without worrying about getting, flicked off instantly is there, or copy or whatever. It's just the tech stuff is still a road bump, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's something they'll have to focus on. But I do believe they can make it there. It's just I don't know the specifics. And of course, if you know the specifics, you can't really talk too much on about it because there's things they want to keep. So yeah, I'll try. I'll be like, hey Rick, well, I know you're a busy person, but I'd like to have you on, that sort of thing. I don't think he'll take it, but it's worth a shot, like you said.
Yeah.
So I'd like to be able to draw over people from YouTube as well. It's just it is a lot, and some of those people have millions of followers. I'm like, look, I'm not here to get clout from you. I'm not here to try to take viewers from you. If they want to follow me, that's fine. Whatever.
Sure.
The thing of it is like I see you as another person. You've done your work for this. Let's just have a conversation of just about anything. Because I think the first thing about people is intimidation, right? Like you can intimidate in some manner. I don't. Believe me, I'm like a feather. Not like that, but
I got you.
so it's there's an imitate it's a bit intimidation factor, and then there's also a uh what's the word, it's when the outreach to you, I think it is, or how they can get to you to set up a schedule or whatever to come on.
Oh, making yourself available.
Making yourself, because I have like 3 different ways for them to get me. It's just I don't, I can
Yeah.
only do so much. And then it's like the worry of like because almost every time I have someone come on, they ask, what are we going to talk about? It's like, well, we'll talk a little bit about yourself and just go from there. And I think a lot of people want some form of structure, which I understand, don't get me wrong, but I find the vastness of a free flowing conversation, even the mistakes in it, can go vastly far than just structure topic. Because I know certain content creators about certain things, but for me, it's like let's talk about Wall Street, or let's talk about how the jungles in Africa are hot, or stuff like this. There's just so much. I'm sweating right now, and I'm not African. No, I'm just joking.
Well, see, you hit on something that I talk about a lot actually, and it's why I kind of stick with Rumble for now.
Mhm.
And I've kind of gravitated towards Rumble for quite some time, and it's authenticity. So you were kind of dancing around it, but the whole lack of structure, like us right now, this is just, two people having a chat. It's
Yeah.
authentic. We didn't script any of this, we didn't plan any of this.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, no,
check
you're
your
right. Yeah,
notes.
yeah.
I'm on page 3. Um, uh, but I mean, it's like a drug to me. Whenever I can find just, a regular guy or girl doing their thing, having fun.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think it gets any better, and I've noticed that I find an awful lot more of that on Rumble. So that's kind of why I like being here. There's just that authentic experience, and when people are just being themselves, they don't have to worry. Oh
Mm.
crap, can I say that? Like, do I have to muffle myself? Like, it's
No.
great.
Yeah.
It's really good. But yeah, authenticity is absolutely king.
Yeah. Now, again, like I said, before we started, there are just like the high end words, which should be pretty easy to know what they are. That I just don't care to have. But on Rumble, you can say it in chat. I don't care. It's just since I'm streaming to YouTube, you have to be careful of what you say and all that stuff. And
Yeah,
also I don't go around, like there's some people who just reactionary, like they go around watching others' content, and they may do like a fair use thing. But for me, it's like we can do so much more than just watch someone else's video. Now, of course, you need like a example of, right? Like you always need an
sure.
example of what is it? What am I trying to say? Oh, well, I know this creator said in this way, so let me go, let him say his thing, and then we'll go from there. But for me, it's just like you you know, I don't use like Wikipedia, even though it's not the most reliable source of information ever. But anyway, but I feel like you get in more trouble when you use someone else's content in an elongated scale rather than just a short term blip, right?
Yeah.
Because you've seen all those content creators again. You can see all those content creators go through YouTube support and just like, "Oh, please, I've been demonetized, or please, I've been banned, or and just like if you're small, good luck. If you're big,
Right.
mm, you may have more of a chance. But it's just like it feels after a while, it feels like you kind of know how they are. So why do you keep? We're gonna keep fighting to stay on. It's like that's fine, but if you aren't uploading your content elsewhere, you kind of are shooting yourself in the foot. And I'm sad to say, it's not gonna get you out of anything.
Right. You're totally right.
And I don't. And again, don't get me wrong. If you are exclusive to one place, that's totally fine. It is your choice to do with what you will with your content. My point of view is they own your content unless you're backing it up like JT does for his. He backs up his content locally. Not everyone can do it because not everyone has the internet or whatever or storage.
Storage space. Yeah. It gets eaten up quickly.
Oh yeah, I have 4 different storages. One is the NVMe,
Hmm.
one is SSD, and 2 are hard drive. And hard drive's a little cheaper than an SSD, but someday SSD will get to a more cheaper plane. It's just a time scale, really. Um, but you're not wrong on the eating data stuff because it's just like what videos recording like 1080 whatever. They just it's like taking a small puddle of water and just splashing it all over yourself. Oh, it's still too hot. I need more.
And I was a weirdo who was recording everything in 4K. So I would stream in 1080, record in 4K. Man, I was chewing up the space big time.
Oh my gosh. I would technologically wise, it'd be nice if they could create a form, a data storage form where you could just plug it like external or internal, where you could just plug it in and it's a huge swath of data, right? Like you could have a block or a cube or whatever of just this. Because what is like the highest count? It's like petabytes, is it? P
Uh,
or zettabytes?
Zetas. Yeah, I'm a comp sci guy. I should know that, but
Yeah, yeah.
um,
It's a
no,
it's
you could get a NAS. I mean, you could get a network area storage and be pretty well set.
yeah.
They
Because
make those. You can get a crap load of storage that way.
I'll have to look. I'll have to look. Crap, NAS. I'm trying to figure out what that stands for.
Network attached storage.
Okay, yeah, because I know what NAT is. It's network
Yeah, address translation.
address translate. I look. I took CompTIA plus and I got it, but it don't. I don't get in it all the time. So that's where you start losing information, and I have to start. I have to start this year on getting the research stuff because otherwise I'll lose my license at the end of next year. So I want to keep it without having to go through all that crap again because it's cheaper to do the research test than it is to do the whole thing again. I'm like, and it's 2 exams for 1 certification. I'm like, dear
Yeah.
Lord. Thankfully I went through a program where I have to pay for it, but it was just no, I
Yeah.
don't have to do it again. So I'm hoping I just gotta find out what I have to do. I think I can take a recert, but it still costs close to $200 just to do again. So it's one of those things. But I've built my own PC. Of course, there's not a place. The only place I have is Best Buy, and they
Hmm.
really sell the most expensive stuff. So
Yeah. If
Amazon.
yeah, Amazon Newegg. If you're willing to do Newegg.
Yeah, well, so what I do is so to build my PC because I there was a place here, and they helped me with my first rig, but everything after that has sort of been like I've used a website called
Oh
mypcpartpicker.com
yeah,
because
it's
of
good.
because of the compatibility factor, right? Because it allows
Hmm.
me to. So I'm on an AMD build
Hmm.
because usually everyone's on an Intel build, right? You see
No,
Intel
I'm
all
on an AMD as well.
yeah, you usually see a majority of things like in stores, whatever they're on an Intel build. And once again, sorry, you usually see people on those type of builds, And I was like, you know what? I want to see what the AMD has, and I haven't had issues other than like things here or there, but that's mostly like my limited knowledge of tech. So other than that, but
Oh, I
yeah,
usually recommend AMD.
it,
They're in my opinion way better.
yeah, and they're a bit. I think they're a bit cheaper than Intel CPUs, right?
Slightly, yeah.
Slightly. It depends. Like I think like the Threadripper they have is wholly
Oh,
expensive as heck.
well, it's wholly overkill too.
Yeah, that's true. So, but the funny thing is, like, most people get the stand-up upright case.
Mm-hmm.
I got the square case that Thermaltake sells. So I was like,
The little
that's
one?
no, no, no. It's well, I don't know what you mean by little because there could be like smaller, but it has a mini, what was it like mini ATX
Mm-hmm.
board side, but the case is square.
Yep.
It's just I just never had a shape like that before. It's like, why don't they make cases like different shapes or at least within a reasonable shape? Because that tall standing tower is just like it's so old and overdone.
If you want to go down a rabbit hole, check out the small form factor builds. Like some of these people are cramming all of that PC goodness into these little tiny cases, slightly larger than a big graphics card.
Jeez.
It's so cool. Like just some of the stuff is just so cool, and they have to like slide things out.
Mhm.
It's a whole thing. I like it.
Yeah. All right. So, like I said earlier, it's the top of the hour, and I usually give that hour. Giving seems like I'm in control of everything. I'm like a dastardly way. I was like, I'm giving you this time.
Oh my.
No, but I make time for that at the top of the hour for content creators to promote themselves. Who I have on to promote themselves, and then I do my promotion, and then we'll kind of continue on if you're able to. So go ahead and promote your works. I do have his link tree in the description. So go into that, and I should have all the stuff. But go ahead and promote your stuff.
Man, I this is hard. I never have to shill myself. So this is going
It's
to be a
not
rough one.
it's not shilling, it's promoting because shilling has a negative connotation to it. Shilling
Right.
makes you sound like a grifter. You are a content creator on a hobby, so you're promoting yourself.
Gotcha. Okay, this promotion then. So my tag for Twitter X at JTPXL. Follow me
Mhm,
there. I'm pretty active on X, as
mhm.
I said earlier. Anytime I go live, I will spam X. Um, and then, as you said, the link tree. Streaming on Rumble. You may want to follow the Twitch chat. I don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, but I'm on Rumble for now, and I like it, and I'm happy. So probably
Nice,
follow my Rumble.
nice. So I'm gonna pull up. So the great thing about Rumble Studios is you can put these scrolly things at the bottom,
Oh, look at
uh,
that.
or the middle, or the top. So anyway, so yes, I am on. I have Rumble and YouTube at Daramuth. I stream to only those two places. I have a fan account on Twitter X, and I call it Twitter X because of what happened, and because it just they don't, and it makes sense to me because people still call it Twitter, and Elon wants to call it X, and so X is the future, but it's still Twitter to some people, so it just combines those two things. Makes sense for me at least. Um, and the fan account is at Veramuth, as you can see on the scrolling, like right there right there at Veramuth. Um, and I also have a Discord under at Veramuth, and uh, uh, I have the Twitter X you can get me at, and I also have an email. Again, there if you want the same opportunity as JT, whether big or small, DM me at the fan account at Twitter X. DM me at Discord at Daramus, or my email, which is crazer6 at protonmail.com. So CRAZZER6 at proton, PROTON, mail.com. And again, those are three places. If you want the opportunity to come on here, do the same thing we're doing. Well, not exactly the same, but something similar. Because it'd be like, so what do you talk about Rumble? It's like, I'm not on Rumble. Oh, so if you want to do something similar where we have a conversation just about almost anything, I'm giving you that. I'm basically willing to want you to have come on, like not like desperate, but like have the opportunity to do it because what content creator does it? I can go to some of the content creators I follow, and they usually have someone within their circle, someone that has like 100,000 followers or whatever, just to have on. I'm like, I don't care how many followers you have on. You have a mic, you're respectful, you're willing to at least not say the big curse words. We're good. Come on. And that's it. So, but yeah, just find me at those places. Again, my stuff also is down in the description. All you have to do is turn the key and open the door, because all I can do is that. I still have to grind to get people like JT here, who had to bang on his door real hard. No, it's like, I know you're in there.
Woke me up and everything. It was crazy.
I'm the mailman. I've come to deliver a package.
Yeah.
You're a lie.
You're not the mailman.
You're not my dad. You're about to find out, son.
It's
But anyway,
basically verbatim.
yeah. I'm gonna find the policeman for the. We heard this from this person. Oh, it was a joke.
What'd you do on the internet, boy?
What's this? Again, it's how you. Those are the three places you can come at me to have the opportunity. I implore you, if you want to do it, I'm not intimidating. I won't bite. I won't slap your face off. I won't throw sand at you like I'm trying to create a diversion. I really generally am looking for conversations with. Rumble has millions of people. YouTube has billions of people. Combine both, I could have content till my dying day. That's how much and how more there are. So money, likes, comments, all this stuff is just a bonus. The conversation is the real gold. Thank you. That is my TED Talk.
Wow. It's like you've done that before.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Yeah, I said it right.
Yeah. Very good. Back on script.
The script said I'm good, so we're good. We're good. I'll send tomorrow, Steve. Oh man.
No, I if I can add an endorsement, this has been a good experience so far. So if take him up on it,
Yeah.
if nothing else, you're gonna have a good conversation. It's
Yeah.
that's it.
Hey,
Everyone wins.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Sometimes I'm left a little tired at the end, so I don't know about that.
Well,
I worked so hard.
I worked so hard for this.
You people are so exhausting. Do you know how exhausting you are? You're so exhausting that when I sat down, I woke up at afternoon time the next day. That's how tired I was.
Oh
So,
man.
yeah. But yeah, no, I've had VTubers on. I've had content creators, non-content creators. It's the variety is so much that I want to keep going. And yes, I'd like to have either Chris or Rick on. I'd like to have one of the big YouTubers on. It's just a matter of perception, because sometimes they'll look down at me like, yeah, you're kind of small and you're probably using me for clout. I'm like, dude, I do this with almost anyone. Don't think I'm here for clout, baby. If I get followers from a stream we do, guess what? Hey, we've had a good time. That's just a bonus.
Yeah.
Let's go it. So, but no, I will shoot my shot. So if you're out there, Rick,
I love it.
I'm coming for you, Rick. I'm gonna slam down. It's gonna be like WWE. It's like, what the hell does this guy want? It's like, I'm coming for you.
I want to talk.
I want to talk. I'm demanding my $20. So, oh man, that's when you know you have a good stream, is when you laugh. And I I had that happen to me once as a kid, right? So you know when they always make that joke, like if you laugh so hard, milk will come out your nose. Well, there was one day I was, because I went to a private school a long time ago, long time ago, because I'm old. That's how old I am. So there was like having lunch and stuff, and I believe, I can't remember what the meal was, but I had pink lemonade with it. And so someone had said something that I laughed so hard that pink lemonade squirted out my nose. I'm like,
oh, man, that had to have burned too.
A little, but I was still laughing after. So
Yeah.
it's like, ow, oh.
Man.
Hurt, but it was so funny. But yeah, I've had that happen before. It wasn't milk, it was pink lemonade, but it was like, yeah, you just go along with it. But it was hilarious, whatever it was. So, but yeah, the stuff you remember back from your kid, it's almost And sort of for me, like when I'm not a parent myself, but when you kind of go back over your own life, right? And if you're a parent, you're like, wow, did I really act like that to my own parents? Like I can't, I don't even know anymore.
Oh, I'm dealing with it now, man. Like you talk about you talk about making stuff come out of noses. Like my kids try to do it to me. I try to do it to my kids. Like I love it. It's just the best thing ever. And when you do it, you know,
Mhm.
um, you're doing something right. Like your kid's not gonna forget that. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, but I
I'm a
also
big
think,
old softy.
yeah, yeah, your big old teddy bear. People just like, oh, how are you? Like, I got him now.
Yeah, yeah,
But for me, it's sort of like I know you. They're not everything that you've experienced in your life when you were a teen or whatever can translate over, but you can sort of see the signs to some degree, right? Like there has to be. I know some parents get too busy and they miss things, or they let someone else take their kid and they miss things. But for me, it's like you have to remember you were once a child, now an adult, and if you have kids, it's even more to the point. The thing of it is how much of what you experience is able to be translated over so that you can understand something, because that's it's not about being friends to your kids, it's about being the parent that maybe you didn't have,
yeah.
or a little change here and there, because I think a lot of parents get stuck in the hole that they want to break, but they don't understand that even though the decades were different, there are similarities across the path that we still deal with, right? Like technology, 70s to now, very different, vastly different. But how we interact with all that stuff and how we interact with each other during those time periods, not so much. It's just everyone looked a little different. You know, bell bottoms versus skinny jeans. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like, wait, you wore pants that had parachutes at the bottom? No, 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 no. You don't understand. They
That's
were
the
called.
80s.
Oh. Okay, I'm sorry. All right.
No, the
Oh,
parachute pants. That was 80s, right? Or was that 90s?
I don't know. I'm
It's
going off.
It's the stuff MC Hammer wore. So yeah, you're right.
Oh
Bell
yeah,
bottoms in the
yeah,
70s.
yeah. Bell bottom 70s. The parachute pants were like the 80s. Like hammer time. Diddle it, diddle it.
Yeah. Oh man.
When you start bringing that stuff, it's like holy crap. But I do think there are at least some takeaways you can take away, because there's stuff you're going to eventually talk to your kids about that are going to be like embarrassing. What you have to remember is like, how did your parent try to talk? Because we already know what the discussion is. How
Yeah.
did you how did your parent talk to you about that sort of stuff? And I was like, well, it was really awkward, and it was mom that was doing it to me and not dad or whatever, however it goes. And it's just like, you know what? When my parents did it to me, it was very awkward because I think they were kind of unsure how to talk about something that's very uncomfortable to some degree, right? Like to be honest, no one I think parents still have trouble having that connection of talking to the kid about, desires and sexual stuff and all that, because it is a very um because you don't want to see your kids make a mistake of teen pregnancies and all this stuff. I think it's still difficult, don't get me wrong, but it's also kind of like, you don't want to go into the conversation like, this is how your mom and I do it. It's like, no, you don't want that. You don't that leads down
Here's
a
a
whole.
pictogram.
Okay, so
Let me break it down. Here's a chalkboard.
here's a from 1975 to
Yeah.
1980. This is how it went, and you got your long stick, and it's like, Dad, I don't.
Going John Madden on the thing. Boom. Here's the
Here,
turducken.
here's the pictures here, and I was like, but
It's funny you bring that up. We just did this with my daughter this like within the past week. That this is ours kind of went, we went in awkward and my wife just jumped right in and she's like, "Oh yeah, so and so already told me about all this." Like,
well, yeah.
what?
Nowadays with technology, that's
Yeah.
also another thing parents have to be worried about, because it is well, if you aren't keeping an eye on your kids, it is so easy to access the things your kids will learn about before you even have a chance to jump the gun on.
Well,
And
it's even more insidious than that though. Like my
yeah,
kids, we have them pretty, like their online exposure is pretty limited.
yeah,
We've got, they've got devices, sure, but they're locked down to holy heck. Like you can't get to a lot of stuff on those.
Yeah.
But it's other parents who don't necessarily um,
Yeah.
care. Well, I don't want to say care about, but don't necessarily monitor or restrict their kids. They're the
Yeah.
ones that are, sharing the gospel of, hey, look what
Whatever.
I learned.
Yeah. And for me, I I think it kind of helps when it's a one-on-one because you have both parents
Mhm.
there. It almost feels like you're in trouble, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh great, what did I do this time? But when you and this is just my feeling. I'm not a parent. I'm only speaking on a perspective. There was a stream I was on with another person I was on who she's very nice. There was a parent within that chat of that stream was like we were talking about parent stuff, but we weren't parents. It's like you can't talk about something you never experienced. Like, but that doesn't matter. We're talking on a perspective that we're allowed to have. I'm not telling you how to be a parent. I'm just
Yeah.
saying how I experienced something and how maybe the translation of from parent to child. Because again, I was once a child. You were once a child. Now you're an adult to parent. What can you use from that? What's the trans? Because again, there's that always going to be that awkwardness about something that is a natural current. Well, depending on the context, it's a natural occurring, but there's a lot of goop in that centerness, especially with stuff today, aka Tinder. Um,
Oh.
yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. But the thing of it is, like, you have to realize you've got to have that honest conversation, not awkwardness. Just be real and understand that you want your kid to come to you, to have that ability to come to you without fear. Because again, I was a kid once too. I didn't always look to my parents as someone I could talk to all the time because there was, my family wasn't total religious, but there was some of that there. And
Mhm.
how parents are, they want their kids to be obedient to some man or whatever. But to have the ability to come to your parent with with little to no fear, right? And just have an honest conversation about something that is a part of life. You can't get around it. It's almost everywhere now. To have that honest conversation and to be able to come back, I think plays more from my perspective, plays more as a positive effect than just here's the things, here's whatever, that's it. Don't come back to me again. I don't want to talk about it anymore. That
Yeah,
just
right.
yeah, that shuts down a lot to a child or to a teen. Sorry, to a teen, because that's where that stuff happens, right? You get all the angst stuff. He's like, I don't want to take out the trash. I don't want to do this. It's like, I get that, but dude, you're gonna grow up and you're gonna be doing that anyway. So why not start now? You know?
There's a super fine line you've got to walk too. Like you want to
Mm,
be accessible, right? But you don't want to be overbearing either. So like
yes.
you have to tiptoe that line. Like I
Yeah.
care about you, you're the world to me,
Mm,
but you still have to be kind of chill and you got to take it back a little bit. So it's such
it's
a weird
hard.
time. So we have one that's going to be 12 in a couple
Mm,
weeks
nice.
and one that's a little younger. But the
Oh.
12-year-old man, it's something.
Get down off the curtains. Get down. Get
Yeah,
down.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining,
Same.
Like I my kids are awesome. Like they're the best.
Mm.
Um, but it is a tap dance. Like my son's still in the, he's a little angel. He's just a sweet little boy.
Yeah.
But my daughter, she's a tween and she's getting into all kinds of stuff and
Yeah.
dad is I'm either, to her, I am either chopped liver or I'm like a superhero. There's no in between. I am
Mm.
one or the other.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of dealing with that. It's
Yeah.
fun, but man, you said it though. Like, was I like this with my parents when I was younger? Like, I can't even imagine. Like, I was a little hellion when I was in high school. Like, I don't know how they did it. Like, I really,
Yeah.
I don't know how I wasn't beaten every day. Like,
And I feel like that's the again you as a parent you kind of have to set the boundaries because again you they won't always understand, but you have to put it in some form where your child understands, like, look, there are a lot of dangers out there that I won't always be there to be like that crossing guard, right? Of just like
sure,
stop, go. So I'm trying to give you as best as knowledge as I can to make your own decisions because one day as an adult, you're gonna have to do it without me or mom there because that's life. You
yeah,
know, it's scary, but you can be amazing at it. It's just how are you going to discern on a moral scale? Because that's where ultimately comes down to is a moral scale, right? Like you can make your own decisions. I'm not going to be there to swat you with a fly swatter when you're an adult, but we're not always going to agree, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm the parent, you're the child. There's a middle ground we can at least come to. Again, my perspective, right? Not a parent. I understand that, but I can still at least come to the table and say, hey, maybe this could work or that would work, or just a reminder to say, you were once a kid, you had
Yeah.
parents, now you're a parent. How are you going to use maybe some of your experience to now, even though it's like decades in apart, right? Like, cars, times are different. Movie theaters were a lot fuller
Oh man.
and cheaper.
Yeah, yeah, cheaper.
So, but I think, yeah, and I think that's a big pillar in any child's life is that talk about, you know, uh, desires and all that stuff that comes with the sexual territory, because it is, I understand it. It's awkward. It's awkward as heck
Oh
when your
yeah.
parent. It's awkward as heck when your parent comes to tell you, it's like, yeah, we had talked to you about something that's going to be a part of your life in the future, but at least we want you to be safe about things. So, or understanding of things. It's like that. What is it, GI Joe? Knowing is
The
half the
more you,
battle.
yeah, go Joe.
Go Joe. Except you're not going to say that. Like, knowing is half the battle.
Wait,
GI Joe.
wait, you mean that's not how you're supposed to do it? Oh
Or
no.
it could, or
Hang
it could
on, I
be
gotta
like,
go fix something.
look, hold on. I've got to get my suit on. I've got to get my commander suit. Gonna get the hat. We're
Yeah.
gonna talk
I
about this.
gotta dress up like Cobra Commander so I can redo the talk.
I'm going to get you, GI Joe. Not this time. Or like
That's how you
Schoolhouse.
mess up your kids, man.
Look. My dad was trying to explain it to me, but he was in this weird costume. I was like, Dad, what's going on? It's like, oh,
Oh
hold on.
man,
I'll
he's
explain to
dressed
you.
up like Cobra Commander again. Oh no.
My mom finds it enjoyable, but I don't. I don't know why. I think mom's weird for a reason. No, son, that's just you'll learn when you get older. You'll learn when you get older.
Oh man.
But it's
Well,
also, but it's also like Schoolhouse of Rock. You remember Schoolhouse of Rock?
yeah.
Like, what was it? Knowledge is power. That was always their thing too. Oh my
Yeah.
god. I bet you could. I bet you I could see you right now as conjunction junction.
Yeah, I could bust that out. What's your function?
Yeah, yeah. I was like, and that's funny thing too is like that sort of stuff worked. It stuck with you.
Well, it
You know,
was so bad. I mean, it was so bad that it had to work, right? I mean, it's like, oh my god, this Schoolhouse Rock stuff's so terrible. You're never gonna forget it.
well, and not only that, but it's music, right?
Yeah.
Music, and then like who remembers three is a magic. I was waiting for you to finish that off,
Oh,
but
I'm sorry.
you're right. The cues are. It's my fault. It's okay. Just relax. We're all gonna be okay. No, but it's three is a magic number, right? And you
Yeah.
could do that. You could sing that song. 369. That's how you knew your multiplications. They had one from 0 to 12, I think it was. But they made it happen and it worked. Now there's zero hero, I remember, and then there's three. But then there's like the five ones, like I was like, it went really fast. It was like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. You had to go fast with that
See,
one. I
I
was
don't
like,
even remember any of those. So you got me there.
yeah. But it's like, it's like it worked. The whole thing about educational stuff was the basic principles, right? Like reading, writing, and arithmetic. If you got all those bases down, the world was open to you. Right now, it's so convoluted. It's like, what am I learning again?
Oh,
What is this about?
yeah,
But
for real.
yeah. And again, there was stuff on language in um in Schoolhouse of Rock. There was stuff, yeah, like conjunction junction, obviously prepositions, and
Government.
government, yeah. three
I'm
ring
just a bill.
a three ring circus, the three ring
Yeah.
circus. I think there was one on dollars and cents. There was a song called Dollars and Cents. Dollars and cents, and with the something with the front of the presidents or something like that. But it was the rhyming factor, it was the song factor. They made it work, and it's like for me, hooked on phonics, right? If you remember what hooked on phonics was,
Yeah.
that's how I learned how to do like apple,
Yeah.
B, ball. Those things worked to some
Sure.
degree. Not everyone, but they worked to a degree that they stuck.
Yeah.
You don't see that very much anymore.
No, you do, but it's usually in the homeschooling community.
Yeah, homeschooling,
Yeah, we homeschooled our kids for a few years. We don't now. I mean, we moved to the little town I grew up in. We moved back.
yeah.
It's a small town, so like,
Mm-hmm.
the schools are pretty okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's my wife taught my son way differently than she taught my daughter.
Interesting.
But it was very, I mean, they both have different learning styles, right? Everyone
Yeah.
has different learning styles.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got the curriculums now that are kind of, this is supposed to work on every child. Like,
Yeah.
no, I bet it works for like maybe,
A good
I don't
chunk.
know, maybe 40% of them, but some of them are just, off in outer space while the teacher's doing their thing.
Right. I feel like that's a David Bowie moment right there. Just singing a song, Starman or something like that.
Yeah, it is.
um, yeah, but yeah, you're right. The people learn in different ways. It's just like when they brought that Common Core stuff, right? It's like, whoa.
Have
Math
you
was.
looked at that? Like,
I looked at that. That was convoluted as heck.
man, I was trying to help my third grade son with some of this Common Core crap, and I'm like, I, I'm like, here's your answer. I know because I know math, but I
Yeah,
don't know what the heck your teacher's looking for here. Like, draw a box around this, then
yeah,
doodle this. It's like, I mean, I guess I understand the point, but
yeah,
this is stupid. Like, this
it,
is you're not learning any. You're not
yeah,
learning the like why the math works.
yeah,
Like we did. We memorized all of our multiplication tables, and
yeah,
we just learned how to like long form divide crap, like all
yeah,
the basic stuff, right?
yeah. It just didn't get crazy until they got like algebra or something. Then it's like, okay, imaginary numbers, gotta calm it down there, gotta calm it down. But it's sort of like if even if you never go into like trigonometry or whatever, if you have the basic foundations for all the three R's, you can go pretty much anywhere, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah, you can function. Yeah, you'll
yeah, you
function in
can.
society.
And majority of the stuff you learn in high school, you don't even put into real life. That's the funny part of education, right? It's just a majority of it you don't really use in real life.
I don't apply half the crap I got in college or in my masters to what I do in real life. Like if I'm going to be totally honest, like I spent 6 years in, well, what, 4 years for my undergrad, and then another 2 for a graduate degree. Like,
Yeah,
I'm educated to high heck, and I don't use a lick of it, but I needed it to get, the big fancy job, right? It's so
yeah,
silly. I don't use any of that stuff. I didn't learn a thing that I use on the job now. It's crazy.
yeah. It's like the piece of paper. The piece of paper is nothing more than a convoluted piece of
I paid my
money.
dues.
Yeah, you pay your
Literally.
dues. Yeah, and it's just like nowadays you can go on YouTube and find a what is it, like not a forum but a teaching lesson from Stanford or whatever, and it's just like
Yeah.
you can use you are now connected to the biggest library of academia, no time at all, no time at all. And it's just like we parents and their kids, because obviously you have to work, you have to make pay. Not everyone can be at home like you
Mhm.
can, or some other people. But the thing of it is like there is a way to use this tool called the internet in a better way. It's just parents and kids kind of have to come together again, because
Yeah.
and it's difficult because again you're providing for your home and all this other stuff, and it's just so it's become a convoluted mess of just whatever, right?
Yes.
And so you have, remember what was it, like George Bush's thing about no child left behind? A lot of child are still getting left behind.
Oh, for sure.
It became like the worst thing to say, because it's still a living thing, right? Children are still being left behind. It's a manner. And then you had the whole thing a few years ago, the pandemic, boom, a lot more kids are getting left behind,
Mm-hmm.
even more. And while homeschool is great, there are homeschool, aren't there like homeschool codependent things
Oh,
or
co-ops? Yeah. Yeah,
co-ops?
we
Yeah,
did. Yeah, we did one. They're very good.
yeah. So you have that too. It's just back in the back long before there were buildings of schools and whatnot, you had
That's
open,
how it was.
yeah, you had open forums, whether it be the parents or that you had the great teachers like Socrates or Plato, whatever.
Well, the communities. I mean, it was all the communities teaching just
Yeah,
anyone who wanted to learn. Just go learn.
yeah,
Kids,
and
whatever.
of course, you could take that child away from that if it wasn't like, something was sketchy about the person, or whatever. But you had this ability to either go to something that you knew or someone you knew that was expert or whatever had done for years of this thing, or you could try and do it yourself because that's how knowledge is passed on, right? It's passed on person to person. Now, obviously, today you have what trade stuff, if child was ever into trades, or you have the internet, which you can go on and watch videos about whatever nowadays. The school buildings themselves have now become almost absolute because they other than charter schools and private schools maybe, but even then, they've lost their ability to be a main hold on education and learning. And learning should be something that everyone in essence wants to take up, because if you're forced to learn, because there's some things you kind of have to be forced to learn, like don't put your hand on the hot stove, don't don't sit on a fire or whatever, but it has to be enjoyable to want to learn as well, because otherwise, kids just don't want to learn. They lose that wonderment. As a kid, we have this wonderment about the world, about the universe, whatever. We have this wonderment, and as an adult, you kind of get it like smacked out of you, and
Oh yeah.
you just don't want to learn as much. Learning isn't fun. It's like, oh, it's probably gonna learn for this job, or I gotta learn because bills are coming in and all this stuff. And it's just like you get weighted down by all the real stuff, and it's just like, well, what did I want to learn? Like, probably you want to learn about a Siberian husky or something. I don't know. It's just
That's a really good point, though. Things are changing. Especially um, for professionals like myself.
Mhm.
Um, Up until very recently, my workflow was, oh, there's a problem I need to solve. Well, I'll Google it because someone probably already had
Yeah,
this problem.
yeah,
Problem solved. Now it's just like I have a problem. Okay, let me go into the AI and ask the AI what I'm supposed to do.
yeah,
Done. But you're absolutely right about the wonderment, though. That's something I try to do with my son. I he has a journal, and I'm like, he has a lot of crazy ideas, and I'm like, every time you get one of these ideas, I'm like, write it down.
yeah,
Like, keep this, because you have some really wild ideas, and whenever you get older, whenever you're thinking, oh, life is kind of bland, go check out what you did when you were a kid, and maybe
mhm,
that'll kick something in you. But
yeah,
such a creative little guy. I love being a parent, so I go off on tangents. I love it.
yeah. No, I've had other parents too. Not I maybe have only talked like one or two um, parental wise. There was one that wasn't a parent, but it was just on the view of parenting and all that stuff, just the
Hmm.
perspective. But that is pretty neat that you said to your kid, why don't you just write it down, because that's an outlet, right? Because kids when they're young, boom, they're like a
Yeah.
rocket. You could put them in, you could make them the energy source, and they just take you to the moon and back.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I love it.
and but the thing of it is, it's like, yeah, because as an adult, you get so tied down with, I've got to pay bills, I've got to search up the new things in order to keep that money going. And as a child, the wonderment of the whole of existence is before you, and so you're not too biased in essence by what you are as an adult now, because there's a lot of things you have to be careful of, dangers and whatnot. But beyond that point, you start kind of there's this feeling that grows inside an adult sometimes, and not all, but some, that just it leads to this sort of depressionary state, right? And of course, this doesn't help either. We have it in our face
Right.
all the time.
24/7.
Yeah. And to just put it down and if your neighborhood is good or whatever, just put it down and for 30 minutes go through a walk through your neighborhood. Go through your kids, do like or do what I've done is collect trash or whatever. 30
Yeah.
minutes, take a walk with your kids or whatever. You there's this thing that happens that makes it a lot better feeling than it's just like and my phone. Oh, I got a call, gotta talk to the phone, whatever. Something gets lost, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's a necessity because there are more dangers as an adult, but to still have a little piece of it, to still, it's like if you ever saw the old Doctor Who, right? Like, you know, like Matt Smith or David Tennant or whatever. Whenever they bring someone new in, they would just awe at the TARDIS on the inside and out, like it's bigger on the inside. But the Doctor's been in this thing for years and years and years and years. But when a new person comes in and their wonder just blows up because of this new thing, the Doctor gets excited again because this
Right.
new person's coming. And that's the same way with a child, right? Like obviously we try to bring a bridge of stuff to our kids to learn to, right, wrong, whatever, from our perspective. But there are some decisions as an adult that don't have that perspective like your parents did. It's called personal decisions.
Yeah.
But to have that wonderment, to have that, there again, there has to be some boundaries because of what the truth of the world is. And it's convoluted, it's difficult, it's screwy. People people want to screw you over, people want to ruin your life. But how you deal with it is another matter. But just to go out and see, like when a supermoon happens, right? When a supermoon happens, and it's not very often,
Right.
or the was it the lunar eclipse, solar eclipse, whatever it is, you get to stop for a moment and just be in awe. Because I'm going to tell you right now, we are dust mites on a blue marble,
Oh, for sure.
circling around a golden sun in a nigh infinite universe, and all you can think about is what's on your phone. How silly small you forget you are.
What I just want to get some likes. What are you talking about? Want some thumbs ups.
And that's the sort of thing I know that's kind of like the,
It's exactly it though.
yeah, it's I know that's kind of going like the existential thing, but it doesn't have to be a whole negative aspect. It can be like how small am I compared to everything else, and how big are my problems, right? Like compared to the universe, my problems are nothing,
Yeah.
right? Like it, there's always a worry about, being homeless, especially if you have kids. There's always this thing about, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like, how can I stride forward, even knowing all this? That's a weird thing about humans, is that we're so adaptable that we've made these technologies throughout the years, and some of it for the better, some not. But we've done these amazing things where we've been able to keep going forward, right? There was a movie that Disney did a long time ago. It was called Meet the Robinsons,
Hmm.
and there was a line in there about keep moving forward, which they kind of took from like Walt Disney. It was sort of like a line, but I can't remember what the line was about. Keep moving forward, or keep going forward or whatever. And it was just that thing where it's just like, but how, right? How do you keep moving forward after someone dies in the family? How do you keep moving forward when you've lost your job and it feels hopeless? How do you keep moving forward when you're just stuck on a writing block and you can't try something else?
Yeah.
Move to a different, walk, go for a walk, do something. The amount of options you have in a day, whether they're good or bad, is nigh infinite. Nigh infinite. And we keep forgetting because we're stuck to these, again, because human beings kind of need some form of structure, too much information flowing in, and you're just like, you
Right.
know, but once you're able to sit down and just kind of put a thought in the quandary, put a thought in that just a little bit, you just touch your toe into that, and you just like, how silly is it that I was more worried about getting the trash on Thursday, and there could be a comet coming towards the earth and I'll never know.
Something to think about for sure.
Scary, but it's sort of like it takes your mind off that worry, because again, stress and all that stuff, they carry to, and especially if you're a parent, right?
Oh
kids
yeah.
can kids can detect that, or when
Yeah.
you're sad or whatever. And I've seen this stuff where it's like, as a, as a parent, it's not okay to show it to your kids or whatever. But like, There was a movie I just saw recently. It was called The Iron Claw, right? It was about
Oh, the Von Erichs, yeah.
the Von Erichs. I don't know anything about the Von Erichs personally. I didn't know anything. I've heard a bit piece about people saw the movie, but when I saw that movie, my gosh, that was harsh. That was harsh. And to the ending part of it, right? When you saw the ending with what's his name? Uh the dude who played the dad, right? The not their dad, but the dude who played the brother who had the two sons. Um
I didn't see it yet. I
oh, you didn't
know
see
I
it?
know I know the story of the Von Erichs, kind of, but
Right.
it messed up story.
It is. But when I watched, it was like, it reminded me of a game that was made a while back, a long time. It was called the story of Edith Finch. Well, I'm gonna look it up. I don't want to get it wrong.
Oh, What Remains of Edith Finch.
Yeah. What Remains of Edith Finch? And the story sort of fits similar to that because of the grandma, right? You remember the grandma? She would always talk about, oh, there's a curse in the family, all this curse.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw, instead of the grandma getting, the mother or the grandmother getting hurt, it was all her kids surrounding.
Yeah.
Same way with his dad. And it was just like, you see this comparison, like, it wasn't the kids. It was this grandma keep believing in this nonsense of like, stuff happens, accidental or not, stuff happens, but you keep believing in a curse that isn't there. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's like the people of what was it, Chicago, right? Was it the Red Sox, whatever? They kept believing in a 100-year curse. How much do you want to think that was more of them still losing because of them than the curse?
Yeah.
But
Right.
but when I saw that movie, The Iron Claw, it just made me think about that game. It's like there's similarities here that are very striking and very scary as well, where you have this parental figure believing in something of a curse and saying to the kids over and over again, it's a curse, it's a curse. And you just see how it plays on the kids themselves. It's like, oh, blame on those things on the curse. When it's just like bad stuff happens,
Yeah.
even to good people. And it's just, oh man, it's so, but it was a touching story. I was like, oh wow. Zac Efron, that's right. Zac Efron was the brother who ultimately, I won't go too far since you haven't seen the movie, but it was worth seeing again. I haven't gone to see it again, but it was worth seeing again. So um, I did see the Bob Marley movie that came out a while ago. The
Man,
one,
see, this is what parents don't get to do. I don't get to go see lots of movies.
so busy, I got work to do. Yeah,
Well,
that's it.
yeah. We see kids movies. Well, kids want to see a movie. We'll see Trolls and stuff. But
Then you're just like, oh, Justin Timberlake, please just take me out.
so I've come to really appreciate the rare children's movie that throws
Mm,
in innuendo in a very, very subtle way. I'm
yeah.
just like, thank you. I get this joke. This
Yeah.
works on two levels. The
Yeah.
kids think it funny, but I think it's funny because it's absolutely filthy what you just said right there.
Well, the lot of kids shows back in the day were sort of like that. Like I think that's what Jim Henson was trying to do with the Muppets, right? The Muppet Show. It was supposed to be both things, but it
Yes.
kept seeing being more as a children's thing because of Sesame Street, and he wanted to get away from that. And the Muppet Show was sort of his way of doing that. And so if you were to watch old episodes of Muppet Show, I'm pretty sure you could find some stuff in there that was,
Oh yeah.
yeah, but it was, I imagine it was very difficult for him to get out of this child setting because Muppets, everyone
Sure.
talks the Muppet and all that stuff. Because you had the labyrinth, right? Remember the labyrinth? It was
Oh
dark.
yeah.
It was gritty. It wasn't like gore or whatever. It was just the dark tone of the story, and it had such a good story because a young Jennifer Connelly, and then you had David Bowie, and then you
I was
had
gonna say that's the one with David Bowie, right? Yeah.
yeah, of course, and you have that's like, the power of the babe. What babe? The babe of the power. What power? The power of voodoo. Voodoo? And it's just, and of course he had like the other stuff, like I think like was it the Crystal Dark Chronicles, whatever it was, the
Oh,
Dark
the Dark
Crystal.
Crystal. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Dark Crystal. That was dark.
Yeah.
That was not for kids. That was dark.
Well, I mean, it was a different time too. Like they would expose kids to, something today. Like, I bet someone would freak out if I told them, "Oh, I let my kid watch Dark Crystal with me." Like, you did what?
What? You monster! Or Back
But
to
I
the
mean,
Future?
oh yeah, and my kids have seen all those, like Back to the Future, Dark Crystal, Labyrinth. Like I've watched them with my kids. Like I don't think it's a big deal.
Yeah. But it just goes to show what like someone like Jim Henson wanted to do of getting away from the child. I mean, it still was there. Like he was a child at
Yeah,
heart, but he wanted to get away from that because it was sort of his kind of goal to do. But with Sesame Street and him starting, that became his big thing. That kind of, and I mean, they still trying now. It's kind of hard to see a Muppet movie without want to be more kid, and it's like I think they did try their thing with like Happy Street or where it was, but it was sort of it did go too extreme a bit. Just try that.
yeah.
If you've never seen that happy hour time or whatever it's called,
I don't
it,
think I have.
it can get a bit raunchy at times.
Oh, then I'd probably like it.
Oh well, just don't have the kids around because there's a
Right,
scene.
right.
Yeah, there's a scene, but yeah, it everything kids doesn't have to be for kids because there are ways of adding stuff in that'll go way over the head. But then the parent, like the child, grows up to adult, and they're like, "Oh, I get it now.
So that's why you
Oh,
were laughing.
that's why mom and dad were giggling at themselves. Wait, what?
Oh no, yeah.
Ah, ah, ah.
I can't wait for that.
I'm blind. I'm blind. I can't see." You'll learn, kid. You'll learn.
Yeah.
No, no.
Oh, you're gonna learn.
When you can have fun with it, that's a real good time.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
So I didn't think we were gonna bring the conversation here. That's pretty wild. See, this is exactly what we're talking about, right?
Yeah,
Who knows?
yeah. Keeping it open and free is like you're on the canoe, right? You're on the calm river. You just
A
canoe
calm
along.
river.
Someone's brought a case of beer and it's in the cooler, just floating beside you, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, what are those? What are those waves over there? It's like, I'm sure it'll be fine. You go over 5 minutes later, ah, ah, ah. You're like, dear Lord, please, please, oh, mercy, mercy.
I love it.
That's how this conversation goes. Oh man, but that's how I like it though. When you can have fun with it, that just goes for miles. The energy's high. The energy's high and tough.
And tough and nasty.
And that's the yeah. Oh no, I the lady I had on Miss Snow, she was very nice. Almost went. I think it went 2.5 hours, but she had difficulties in life or whatever. So, but she makes her own content as well. I try not to do too much content creators, but that's all I can assumably get right now because of the connection
Yeah,
between Twitter and
we're very chatty.
yeah. We're like a bunch of chatty Cassies. We're over here just talking our gobs off. We're just
Oh,
going
I
geek.
guarantee, man. If you reach out to, I think, just about any small to medium sized creator, you'll probably have good success getting them to say, "Oh yeah, why not?"
Well, so I will say I have reached out to some creators, and sometimes they'll be like, or some I have reached out to some people, some creators, some not, and they're like, "Oh yeah, let me check out your stuff." Never hear a thing back,
And then
or
ghosted. Hmm.
yeah, I go or whatever, or they're too busy with their own stuff, which is fine. I understand that, but it's like we don't have to be children about it. I do whatever, but so there are some I am waiting on. Like again, like I have someone for the 5th of next week, which was nice. And I have again for Thursday and Friday. Now, Friday, my PIF stream is sort of a stream I can do every Friday
Mm-hmm.
because when I don't have a lot of money, but I do know I've I've come to find that you can do a lot with little, and
Yeah.
people appreciate that. I with Rumble I can do a lot more with $2 than I can on YouTube. So that's how I see it. But I can do a
So
lot with little.
from someone like from my perspective, a lot of us have been creating for a long time. Like I've created for over 10 years, right? And never really
Yeah.
saw any like huge success. I was on
Mm,
Twitch for ages, on and off. Probably went
Jeez.
for like a 2-year clip where I was pretty active. You know, I'm monetized on Twitch, so like,
Understandable.
yeah. But from someone like my perspective, you know, like a $2, you know, $1, even $1, you know,
Mhm.
that it's not going to make or break the world. You know, it's not going to be like, oh my God, you know, like I'm rich. But I think it's the sentiment. Like there's something tangible. Like it's awesome when someone pops into your chat and says, "Oh, hello," you know, that's nice. You know,
Yeah.
it gets the dopamine firing. But when someone, you know, takes a moment and just throws, you know, $1, like I don't know, it hits different. It's
Yeah.
there's a different feel to it. You know, so
Yeah.
don't discount that. You know, that like that's kind of huge. I respect the heck out of that.
Yeah. That's what I mean, I do follow people who follow me back, but to follow everyone, every stream I go to is kind of difficult because there are people
Oh
I
yeah, you
do.
can't do you can't be expected to do that.
Yeah. So, but I figure I give a like, I say something in the chat, and I give some money. I think that does a lot more than just me following you because I can't, not everyone I follow, I watch because it's just
Right.
too impossible. I'm creating my
Well,
own stuff too.
yeah, it's well, I mean, look who you're speaking to. You know, I've got a day job. I got to do 5 streams a week, 2 hours a stream. You know, like I'm stretched thin, man. But I totally get it, and I don't think anyone, you know, I'm one of those. Like I said, I don't take myself super seriously, and I treat everything as a hobby. I never get mad at anyone, you know, if they're never at my stream. Like I got buddies. I don't care if they ever show up at my stream, you know, like
Mhm.
they might show up every once in a while. I don't really care. Like it's just something I do, right? But I get what you're going after, and I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. In essence, I would like to be able to at least have the content creation work out to where I don't have to always be 9 to 5. I think that's
I
the
think that's the dream.
yeah. But but I'd still, again, I would still work a part-time job even if I did have that
Hmm.
because you still have something tangible, right? Like it's a like they always tell you in some degree to have like several revenues of monetary like revenue, right? Several streams of revenue, right? Because focusing on one like just job, it can be detriment. Now, of course, money taken from that job to 401k or whatever. Like I've done some in stocks, like Rumble and Apple and some other ones. Not very much, but I've put some money in those. Those are more of long-term stuff. Like I'm not going to strike it rich right away, even though sort of have gone after stocks that kind of do dividends, more
Hmm.
dividend stuff, because that's something that could be like small wheel, big wheel thing. Like get that, circle it back.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
again, my expectation is to hopefully someday that I don't have to keep doing the 9 to 5. I know everyone wants to be like that, but it's how you work it. But even if I got to that point, I still would have a part-time job because you never know, and it's very like you would have to have a lot of people sub to you in order for that to be the case. Like I know Rumble tries to push, sort of push on locals and that sort of thing, but it's like if you have memberships, right? If you have memberships on Rumble, you have that sort of thing on locals, then you
Merge
shouldn't
them.
have you either merge them or you don't have that on Rumble because
Yeah.
I'd like to have all in one shop, even though that's what Elon wants to do, and there could be trouble with that. But with Rumble, it's sort of like it just, there is more coming to memberships this year. Rick has said that, but it's just like, why would I need to go to another platform in order to get this thing, which you can have just right here, like membership streams, right?
Yeah.
You, memberships become more valuable if you have, membership type streams. Like again, like YouTube has. I don't want exact like YouTube, but there are just things you can't take away from YouTube that wouldn't make it a little better. Um, and that's
See,
what.
I completely ignore locals. I don't do anything with locals. However, I probably would
Mhm.
if the Rumble sub would carry over to locals. Like exactly what you said. I
Yeah,
would I don't know if I would make custom video content, but I would probably like I don't know,
switch
have some
over.
kind of yeah, there would be something. I don't exactly know what I would do. Like this is just me off on the top of my head, but I would do something, you know.
Yeah, you would just go blazing out there like. F these people, just you know.
Yeah, you come into the members area and the filter comes out off.
You come to the members area and the balls are to the wall. All right,
Yeah,
that's how you get.
the badger comes out.
What was it? What that meme used to be a long time ago? Honey badger don't give a
Honey
crap.
badger don't give a shit. Yeah.
I remember when
So
that. I remember when
so
that dude.
funny thing on my stream, I have a button on my stream deck that will play random clips of that because I've gone all in on that badger thing. But that honey badger video, I
Yeah,
chopped it up into little bits and pieces, and I have a button that'll just play a random one
yeah,
every once in a while. Because I'm an idiot, right? Like little things amuse me, and this is what I do. You know,
yeah,
I do it and I chuckle. I don't care if people think, oh, what the heck is this idiot doing? Like I think it's funny, so I do it.
yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome. I don't. I wish I had some like right now. I have commissioned someone to sort of do uh, like a placeholder video because
Hmm.
the one that has kind of it doesn't have any sound, but it has sort of like it'll just say loading because I thought that
Yeah.
would be interesting to just have something like that because I am kind of loading. But I really, I'm really not. I see Uncle Pudge's stuff, right? And he's got experience with stuff. He's got more than I've ever done. I really would like uh I really like. I'm trying to. I have to kind of do like the free trial thing, but I want to try to take one of Pogo. He's a. If you've ever heard of him on YouTube, he's made like music video stuff using like Disney stuff and all that. If you ever get a chance, you should watch one of his videos. They're really, he's really good. But he hasn't made music stuff in like over in a few years. He just got tired of the social media scene. Um, but yeah, I was thinking about downloading one of his videos and then I can put it in the studio and play it before and just have it like because StreamYards allows you to do that. Like if you ever use StreamYards, you can put in these clips and play them. Um,
Right.
Again, there's just a few things with Rumble Studios I hope they're able to work on. The big one is really if you're, let's say my power goes out or I accidentally exit out of Rumble Studios, I can get back into.
Stream's over.
Well, yeah, I can't, the stream is still going, but I can't get back onto the stream. I can get back in the
Mm,
studio, but I can't get back on the stream. And so that's sort of like with StreamYard, you possibly could do that and OBS, but I can't with Rumble Studio. And that's a killer right there. That's really a killer for using it.
yeah.
Um, and then there was another idea I got from a previous person I talked to. His name is Zio Gaming, and he was like the presentation tab only allows the person and the presentation. You can't show everyone else on there that's in your stream. And I was like, yeah, StreamYard does that. You know, that'd be nice if Rumble does it in its own way and it can have that. Because if I have a group, don't know if I'll ever will or not, but if I have a group and it's only showing me and the presentation, I I'm not going to be able to enjoy it with them on the screen. And also, there are other creators that won't use it as well because they don't have that option. So it's just sort of like, yeah, there are a few things, but if they got that really big one out of the way, I think some people would use it. It's just, yeah, if once
Mm,
you exit out or once the power goes down or whatever, it's you can't get back in, and that's a killer. That's really a killer.
yeah.
But I enjoy using it. It makes it streams. I've used StreamYard and I've used OBS. Rumble Studios streamlines the hooking up factor to the platforms much easier. Only you have to do that one thing and go. Done after that.
Yeah, I see monster potential with Studio. I'm actually kind of impressed. Like I said, this is the first time I've gotten to play with it, but it's pretty nice. I am impressed.
Yeah, it's they this YouTube has its own, but it's only for YouTube. You can't stream anywhere
Right.
else. Neither neither Twitch nor Kick nor BitChute, nor Odyssey, nor any of them have something that's like this. This is a golden ticket waiting to be shined to turn to gold.
Oh, if you do podcast style content, this is money. Like Rumble Studio is just
Yeah,
really crazy.
yeah. It's just big fix, smaller fixes, boom.
Yeah.
This is I think this is their part of that future
Oh,
right
it
there.
100% is.
Yeah, it's part of that bit future right there. And once they get it right, dear Lord, will they outshine all the other platforms, including YouTube? This will be their edge, right? Not the instant day one monetization and edge. The price they get from monthly subs, of the cut they get from Rumble Rants, edge.
Yeah.
All these little things can play into effect if they just are able to get the pieces a little more polished and a little working well with each other. Boom. And I see that's a possibility of future I see. That's why I'm invested in Rumble, because I see this thing. It's gold in waiting, but they have to polish it up a bit. And then
They've definitely
boom.
set the table. They just gotta sit down.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Once this becomes a powerhouse, baby, I hope other content creators use it, because it will streamline you connecting to your platforms. It will streamline you seeing all the chats like you can see. Uh, uh, the um, donation thing shows up when a donation comes. It's just it can be wild, man. But yeah,
I'm here
if
for it.
oh yeah, I'm here for the ride. I just won't be a platform only for me. I just
Right.
won't be a platform only. Even Rumble's great. I get that. There's still some things that make me a little leery, but for the majority of it, they seem okay, all right. It's just I won't let one platform be the ruler of my content. And
That's
even if
fair.
even if they say I'm all about free speech, yeah, Elon said that too, and guess how that's working out.
Right.
Free. It's a thing for me too. Is like a platform can't say it's free speech when they have limitations.
Yes.
That's the issue. It's like with the AI stuff, right? The AI language models. AI can't be truthful until it can lie to you, but it can still lie to you even with the restrictions. So it's sort of like then it's not then it's pointless. It's pointless to have a language model if it can't be open. You know,
Yeah.
give it some bacon. Treat it like a child, right? Treat it like a child. You teach it from toddler, all this stuff. You try to teach it small stuff, but you give it enough room that it will crawl on its own, and it will be able to do all this. Be free, be freer. Like the basic, the three R's, right? You give it the three R's, and you just let it go from there. You let it do all this stuff. I know it's a little weird tech wise, but stuff right now is not going to be what they want it to be because it's restricted.
Yeah.
Uh, it's funny because if you were to go to any of these language models other than like GPT or whatever, their thing is going to be, oh, we got out of silence, hate speech, misinformation, all this stuff. I'm like, wait, wait a second.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you have restrictions. You're not free. You you can't go beyond your restrictions. Yeah. You know, I've it's just like then you're not really much a language model. You're just like a dog with a bone. He's like, come on, boy, come on.
You're right. You're right.
It's just me though, but I do use Midjourney.
Yeah,
Um,
I do too.
my thumbnails. That's what I use for my majority of my thumbnails.
Me
Because
too.
the base that I use the cheap one, like the $10, because I'm not paying more than that.
Yeah, that's what I do
But
too.
but yeah, I use it for that. I'm not an artist. I don't have money to pay an artist, so you know, thumbnails can be like there have been some where I just do like sunny day and transparent bubbles. And I'm like, yeah, that looks pretty good. That works. I'll use that.
See,
But
I got into the habit of generating like little anime characters, and then for the rest of the thumbnail, that's all me.
yeah,
I'll generate like one piece, and then I'll put that in. And that's more of like a learning journey I'm on. Like I'm trying to
yeah.
figure out how to use Photoshop and be some kind of Photoshop ninja.
My name is GT. Welcome to
Yeah,
class of Photoshop
I
Ninja.
do Photoshop.
You
Yeah,
come. You pay 150 a month. You come and learn.
yeah. Let's just say I have a white belt.
Which is that'd be a form of content creation right there. You've come to the dojo of GT. See
Yeah,
you
you're
on
you're you're giving me ideas here now.
You just do it like that. That form of this, like that's kind of racist. You go, get out now, get out now. You are not allowed here.
Yeah,
But you just do JT Dojo with Photoshop. There you
the
go.
the the Photoshop dojo.
Let me take you through the course. Look at this paint can. Bloop.
Oh man,
Erase on.
take
Erase
rice
off.
from my hand.
Take the pointer clicker from my hand. You can't.
Now face swap.
Facebook. We are now to learn about deepfake. No, not that
Oh
deepfake.
my.
We're gonna do face swap the Photoshop version.
Oh
No,
god.
no, 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 no. Face off. That's right. Face off the
Yes.
Photoshop version. Oh my gosh, that's too hilarious. See, there you go. We'll go on. You can go on. Go follow GT. Go follow his dojo of Photoshop. I'm sure he'll come up with something soon. It's like, how the hell am I going to do that?
I guarantee you're not gonna learn anything.
So there's this thing over here. It's called a box, and
Click it. Click the thing and then do the stuff and art.
yeah. Oh look, I drew a line. I drew a black line. Oh look
Boom.
at me. you
Nailed
just
it.
you just become so ridiculous. I was like, I don't know what this guy's doing.
I mean, that's you've just given me an idea for sure.
See, that's what I have given you. I have given you JT Dojo. I have given you
Yeah.
free advice. That'll be $6 under the table.
Oh man. You'll have
I
to
know.
get royalties.
Oh, hold on. Let me spell that. Oh, get me laughing on a roll. I'm going to choke to death. Oh my gosh.
Oh, look at that.
All right. So it is now the top of hour once again. Like always, we promote. I know some people be like, "Oh, you're gonna shield yourself." Like, no, that's a negative connotation. I'm trying to be a little more positive. Promote is sort of like saying, "Oh, I've got this thing. Come watch or not. Whatever." But at least or grift. Like, grift has such a negative connotation nowadays. It's like, you can donate to me or not. I don't care. Like it or not. I don't care. I'm here for the conversation, baby. Anything else out of that is a bonus. It's like I've gone to Charlie, was it Willy Wonka's Wonderland, and it's sort of like the cheap version, and it's like, wait, there's a golden chocolate bar. You can have that.
Yeah.
Everything looked like it was made out of a fourth grader play or whatever it is, and you just like in the center is like this well done, like chocolate bar or whatever you have, and you're just like, all right, you've made it worth it. Then I'm going for that. So go ahead, sir, and go ahead and promote yourself.
Yeah. So follow me on X. It's should be right down
The link tree. The link tree
there.
is in the description. Yeah.
Yeah, the link tree's in the description. Follow my
Yeah.
channels.
Mhm.
I'm a pretty chill guy. You probably figured that out by now, but
He hasn't yelled once. He's so quiet. I almost
I
feel
know.
like there's a grasshopper in the background. It's like, I think I hear something.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Now it's my turn. Well, technically I can have my turn anytime, but I'm not like that. If you've ever seen one of those content creators who just like this horrible, just like, okay, you're done, get off, done.
Oh
Go.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But anyway, I have on Rumble and YouTube under the same name at Daramuth. That's me. That's mine. I made it. I created it. It's mine. No one else's. I copyrighted that. But I'm also have a fan account on Twitter X. It's at Veramoose, but you can find it underneath Daramuth's corner. Is what I've called like the bigger line. Like there's the at and then there's the. So find me at Veramuth on the fan account on Twitter X. Also, if you want to have the same opportunity that JT's having, the CEO of Badgers, I don't know how you survived that one. You can go to Discord, DM me on Discord at Daramoose. You can go to the fan account on Twitter X at Veramoose. DM me there. You can go to my email, Crazer6 at protonmail.com. CRAZZR6 at protonmail.com. 3 ways. I've given you 3 ways to contact me. This is the point. To have a conversation, to talk about almost anything. We've gone from talking about Rumble and its stuff to talking about parenting to some manner, then talking about Muppets and all this stuff. We've gone over the place, and it's been a great time. We can have the same thing if you want. The opportunity is there. I can't force you. I'm not going to force you. You have the key. Turn the door. I'll welcome almost anyone. I say almost anyone because there are troublemakers out there. There are people who want to destroy. There are people who don't want to have a good time. They just want to blah. Those are the people I don't want to talk to. If you just want to destroy, I don't want to talk to you. But if you want to have a great conversation, the opportunity is yours. Just go to those 3 places, and the link again, like his stuff, my stuff will be in the link in the descriptions, whether on Rumble or YouTube. I'll make sure they're on both. Whether on Rumble or YouTube, go to those things, find me there, and we can start. Because I still have to grind on finding people, and that's going to be a part of it for quite some time. But the more people that follow, the bigger I get, and the bigger I get, the more people will want to come on instead of just be like me having to go after them. Or at least my chances of people wanting to come on more will probably be better than me trying to grind on getting people. So it's like 100% now, and then maybe someday it'll be 50-50. So who knows? But anyway, that's for us. So you good for another 20 minutes? Are you good, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah, because I don't want to. I've got to get to go in bed soon. So
I'm with you, man. We're adults. We're old men. We stop ticking after a certain hour, right?
Hey, I still try to work out, man. I'm not too old, but yes, I'm old.
I think I'm older.
All right, I'll let you have that one. Age before beauty.
Oh.
Believe
Now
me,
I'm sad.
I'm not that pretty either, so don't worry about it. I try real hard.
You have moisturizing cream and exfoliation and the whole regimen with all the creams and serums.
Winter is awful for anyone's skin, right? Because
man, itchy all the time.
Scratch,
dry.
Bleed. Oh my gosh, I hate it because it's just like you try to touch something, it's like an electric shock. It's like, oh, jeez, god dang it.
And then one of the big treats is you get up in the morning, you get your hot shower, and in that cold, in that cold, dry air that's everywhere. Mm-hmm. That's bad news, man.
Why am I peeling a layer of skin?
Why am I molting?
It's a question you ask after really bad sunburns, like, Dad, you're starting to peel. Where? Everywhere.
Yes. Where? Yes.
But yeah, it's still, again, creating content is still a challenge. But if you don't treat it like a job, like a hobby, or something that's affixed to it, you'll have a better time than treating like, oh man, I got to put out this much. I mean, technically you kind of have to because you're in the program. But
so it's weird. I mean, it is really weird because I still focus. I act like it's a hobby. I still do. I still maintain that general vibe. Right. I just keep playing games that I would normally play otherwise. So if I wasn't streaming, I play a lot of Final Fantasy 14. I would be playing that regardless if I was streaming or not. So I'm just like, well, you know what? I'll turn the camera on and I'll make a thing out of it. I'll get another show. And then, maybe, my whole thing is I'm trying to pull other people into the game, right? So I'm trying to be Mr. Friendly and, hey, you want to play the game? It's kind of bad because I know you'll get hooked and then you play and it's like, oh God. Yeah. So maybe I shouldn't do that, but no, it's still a hobby. I was still going to play the game anyway, knock some hours out. I don't approach my streams as, what is my show going to be? What's my act going to be today? It's just basically, what do I want to talk about? I'll talk about some crap that happened that I saw on X or I saw, and then I'll play games. It's a simple formula. It's not going to be world beating or anything. I know it's not like the key to ultimate growth, but I'm having fun, like that's really, people think I'm joking when I say I'm being very selfish with my creation, but I really am. Like I'm doing it for me. Like I'm I love, like you say, there's bonuses, getting to talk to people, getting to meet new people, like that's all gravy, that's just extra.
Yeah, and anything like lights, follows, and donations, they're all
Yeah,
extra too. Um, but but yeah, it's like, I mean, yeah, there's Twitter X is always there's always something to talk about, but it seems like it's very not. Yeah, yeah. I've said my words of what I think of Twitter X, so it's whatever.
yeah,
But it's always it's a social contagion conundrum.
it is.
It's actually more like a paradox, really. It's like a social contagion paradox, where it's just like, dude, I gotta get off, but I can't.
Right. And it's a necessary evil if you're a creator, right?
Yes,
You have to be present there. Like you've got to have one of the socials. You got to have Instagram. You got to have X. You got to have God,
Facebook.
Facebook. Ugh. Um, I only have X. I deleted
Yeah,
my. No, I'm sorry. I have Instagram, but I don't do anything on it. I just
right.
usually look at pictures my wife puts up. Um,
Oh,
yeah, I'm a softie, remember?
yeah.
But X, that's my thing. If I want to say I'm, going live, or if I'm saying, oh, I'm, I'm sick as a dog, I'm not going live. It's X,
Yeah, that's I mean, again, it's kind of hard to get around that, because it's not like it has the most people, but it's become like the cool kid crowd sort of ordeal. And I know what Elon wants to do with it, but what he wants to do with it and the reality of it are not the same.
Yeah.
And from my perspective, so but it's still where the cool kids want to go. Not when you want to do content creation and going live, it doesn't always translate to very well over, but
Mm-mm.
it can be helpful. Um, and it's just, again, here's the two questions I bring up every time about content creation stuff, like, what are you willing to put into it, and what do you want to get out of it? Two very simple questions, right? What are you willing to put into content creation to make it your own thing, regardless of the thousands of hours and thousands of people, of thousands of millions of people, just of what they've created? What are you willing to put in to make it your own thing? And the second part of that is, what are you expecting out of it? Right? Like, there are a lot of people who go into this expecting money, 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 money.
That's the wrong way.
That's the wrong way. Or fame, 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 fame. I'm
Yeah.
like, two very, I get it. Those are byproduct. Those aren't the aim. Those
Yeah, you
aren't
can
the aim.
absolutely get those things. You can absolutely make that happen, but you probably have better odds hitting the lottery. Like
Yeah.
if I can be totally honest, like I have everyone who goes into content creation, I think in the back of your mind, you're thinking maybe I'll be, maybe it'll be me, maybe I'll be the lucky one. But there's a
Yeah.
crap load of luck. I mean, you can stack the deck in your favor all you want. You can put in the work, you can put in the hours, you can grind it. But at the end of the day, there's just all kinds of things that you can't really control that are gonna basically
Yeah.
dictate what happens. And you just got to be prepared to deal with that, I guess.
Yeah. And that's what life is all about: being prepared to deal with the things that, not always, but some of the things, because there are things out of your control. You just kind of have to take a deep breath and go from there. But all right, sorry. But yeah, those are the two questions I ask, because it simplifies the content creation core of itself, right? And again, all these people, to some degree, they want the money, they want the fame, they want to become the next big thing, like you said. But those are just extras to the whole thing. It's just extras to the whole thing. I I believe you, if you put in what you want to get out of it, and you expect that, maybe it'll be something more, or maybe I'll just have fun along the way, you'll have better odds than say, I'm gonna go in to get all the monies. I'm gonna get to be big and famous like PewDiePie and all this stuff. Like, yeah, good luck with that. Yeah,
I
good luck with
think
that.
I think my whole opinion there is, again, it goes back to authenticity. If you can present yourself as an authentic human being doing
Mhm.
authentic human being things, and not like dancing to the or the organ grinder,
Mhm.
um, not putting on a show, just
Yeah,
being yourself, it's going to be way easier. You
yeah,
don't have to put on a show. Like, that's mentally taxing. Like,
yes,
that Hassan guy came out and said, "Oh my God, streaming's so much harder than a 9 to 5." Like, dude, it isn't. Okay, like unequivocally, 100%, it's not. Like streaming's awesome. It's fun. Like
Oh,
if it's not fun, then brother, you need to look in the mirror and maybe pump the brakes a little bit because you're doing it wrong.
you know,
It should be enjoyable.
when when a millionaire tells me
Right.
streaming is hard, I have to look at them and say, I'm pretty sure your mom dropped you as a kid
Well,
because
the millionaire that preaches socialism, like, oh my gosh. It's just there's so many layers of idiocy on. I'm sorry,
no, you're
I'm getting a
fine.
little negative, but man, there's so many layers of idiot to that guy. Like,
He's
ah,
he's a walking oxymoron. That's
he
what he is.
really is.
He's
Yes.
a lot of people are. And the funny thing is, right? It's like, do you not take yourself back a bit and kind of look at the situation and say, you know what? I think I'm an idiot.
I mean, he's got such a good life, Like, what do you have to complain about, my brother? Like, you sit around and you get to if you want to play video games, and maybe a sitting, U.S. House of Representatives person wants to play with you.
Yeah.
You have that. That's kind of crazy. Or
What
you could spout nonsense for hours on Twitch and people just throw dollars at you. Like, brother, what is so hard about that?
And my thing is, what gripes me is that you don't have to go. You shouldn't. I mean, it's up to you, but you shouldn't have to go 9 hours a day to make enough to at least, because you think about it, it's what you make in a day, right? From all that stuff. If you do pretty well, the whole month will turn out pretty well. You don't have to do freaking 9 hours. You
Yeah.
didn't. If you came from a 9 to 5 job, right? And you choose to do the 9 hours, that's on you. But if you come from a 9 to 5 job and can do a few hours a day out of your 24-hour day and still do well, that's the dream.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it's like who let these people on with a computer and just like said, yeah, he's pretty smart. We should follow him.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean,
can't.
I told you I've done Twitch for, I've been on Twitch for probably 10 years and I still probably haven't hit the level of success that I would have liked. So
You have to be a very attractive VTuber for that to happen. Unfortunately, that's how it
you
goes.
need to be a hot anime girl. That's the way to go. And clearly I'm not.
I, yeah, it's or a hot ethot girl, which Twitch has plenty of those.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I mean, initially they've got it easier. I mean, I'll say that, if you're a young, attractive woman, it's easier to get those initial clicks, but I'll say you better have the goods to back it up. Like if you come in and you're just absolutely, your brain is just somewhere else. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're talking about. You have zero personality. Like
yeah,
you'll get those initial people that'll come in to say, "Oh, hot girl playing games. Let's check it out."
yeah,
And then, 5 minutes in this is, there's clearly nothing going on up there. You're out, they don't make it. I've seen hot girls fail on Twitch. Like it happens. It's not just like an instant it's not an instant win,
yeah. It should be a compilation of that Twitch hot Twitch girls fail
Yeah.
episode 1.
I mean they don't. I mean there's been plenty of it's not a guaranteed win. That's I guess I'll leave it at that. I mean they
Yeah, it's like
you gotta have the goods, man.
yeah. Well, technically they kind of have to, but they can't.
Well, different kind of goods.
They can't do that on Twitter. Well, they did for like one moment, and then they like, ooh, we got to pull that one back.
Yeah, that
I was like,
I don't understand that whole scene, but oh, it's art. Is it?
is it? I don't know. That $100 donation was not made for the.
Yeah, I don't think they were praising your artistic prowess there. Ay, ay, ay.
Look, I'm body painting myself. Yeah, that's why you're getting thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You're so artistic, honey. Thank you.
Ugh.
Oh
Gross,
my God.
man.
Oh my goodness. when you can look at that and you can sit down and laugh. Now don't forget, YouTube has that same situation too, right? They have the naked yoga.
Oh, right.
You can go on and find naked yoga.
That's
They
just
allow it.
lovely.
They allow that, and I'm just like, can't you
Why?
have? What? Can't you have it? I mean, I know. I think some of them do have like the adult content warning, but kids can still get around that. I hope you
Yeah.
know. I call that the cookie jar syndrome paradox, where it's like you do realize human beings will act like a child wanting to get into the cookie jar to get the cookie. They will do almost whatever it takes if it doesn't harm them or get them, almost thrown in jail, but sometimes it's not the case. They will do almost whatever it takes to get that cookie out of the cookie jar. You were a kid once, you wanted the sweets, their kids are wanting the sweets. Guess what? They will go to one parent or the other and they will try to confound you like crazy in order to get those sweets. Human beings do it. That's the cookie jar paradox right there.
See, when we were potty training our kids, we gave them a piece of candy every time they
Uh,
used. They went number 2 in the toilet and flushed and everything. Piece of candy. I've never seen kids poop so much in my life.
yeah, but that's kind of the wrong way you want to go about it too, because then we're like the
Yeah,
12-year
I
old,
know.
they're like 12-year-old and like, hey dad, I did it. Can I have a piece of
Well,
candy?
here's a Milky Way. Good job, buddy.
22 years old, and that Milky Way is going a long way.
Heck yeah. I got a case of them down here
Dad,
where
I
he's
made a
visiting.
Milky Way. Can I have one? Son, you're 23 years old. Just you can buy your own bag of candy now. Just do it.
Yeah.
I can't. I can't. When you think about that stuff, everyone's like, "Man, that was a bad idea."
It was. And that's the part of it. You learn, right?
Yeah. No, you're not getting any more candy. But well, then I'm not going on the toilet anymore. You crap your pants. It's on you.
Yeah.
oh,
We got there though.
oh my gosh, that is hilarious. But when you can find those moments in life and laugh at them, because I'm telling you right now, without laughter, a majority of humanity would have been floating in the sea with like everyone else, and it's not. It's for you don't have to get high in comedians or whatever, but if you can't laugh at life to some
And what are you even
degree,
doing?
good
The
lord,
best medicine.
oh yeah, that definitely would have made these harder if I couldn't laugh at myself when I do them solo. Because when you do them solo, I think the highest count I've ever gotten of people was close to 20 with
Yeah.
someone on, but by myself maybe around 10. But at the end of the day, that's all bonus.
Oh,
And
if I didn't have the context of a video game, I don't think I could do it. That is brain power or something. Something I don't have.
I as a kid, my imagination was wild, and to some degree, as an adult, it still is. So I just do
Roll
whatever.
with it. I love
That's
it.
right. I had a thought about doing like back in the day, well way back in the day, they would have just shows on radio, right? And it'd just be
Hmm.
like you'd hear the voices and all stuff. I thought about doing something of similar caliber. Like I had this one thought in mind where you had these like tornado wranglers, right? But it's like it's like former cowboys, and they have this rope. And when a storm comes, there's like a tornado that comes through, and it's like the Fuji scale, like 1 to 5 or whatever, and they just kind of go and wrangle these tornadoes during like tornado season. It's just like, we gonna get them tornadoes. That's an F2 over there. We gotta be careful of that one, but we're gonna take them out.
I'm gonna get that one.
I'm gonna get that one. You see that one over there? That small one over there, that's a little dinky, but he gonna make it. He's an F1. He's just getting there. Just give him a little time. He'll get there. We got this F5. His name is Buck. Holy Lord. It took 7 of us to take him down. Dear Lord. I tell you what, Danny got in the center of that tornado. He was having the ride of his life, but he's still good. He still got all his limbs. He still got all his limbs.
I love it.
They just have like a little stall of like different tornadoes, like different levels. Like we got that F1 over there. We call her Missy. She does okay. She don't do no too much harm, but she don't eat her hay like she should. We got that F2 over there. We call that one Donald. because Donald was the one who actually got him, so we got to name him. So we just leave him at that. They got F3 over there. Boy, howdy, that's like the middle stage between light disaster to dear Lord, I got to get out of here. We got an F4 over here. Holy Lord, I tried to catch that one once. That took three of us. That was like crazy. And then we got this F5 over here. Like I said, his name is Buck because it took seven of us and he was still bucking us. All right, it's just diff eco. Once we got him though, he calmed down a bit. But sometimes though, when you ride him, he's like, woo-ha! He like throw you off like it's a bullet train. He just like woo. So it's just stuff like that. But you can't. It really doesn't work when you can see somebody do the voices. You kind of have that disassociation.
Right.
But that'd be for me. It'd just be all improv because I don't know how to write a story, and for me it's like when you do like one of my favorite shows when I was growing up was Whose Line Is It Anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because pretty much everything was off the cuff. Now, of course, they have like bloopers, they have bonus content that didn't show. But the one game I really liked the most was Scenes from a Hat, because that was the purest form of the improv part of it, right? They had the games like the Greatest Styles, which was great. They had Questions Only, which was also great too. But when you came to Scenes of a Hat, that was the pejorative of the show because it was the most pure form of improv, and they had to come up within the confines of what was written on the piece of paper, whatever. Still, there was some sort of restriction, but they could go almost anywhere with it as long as they stay within those little confines. That's almost the same thing I'd be doing with something like that because I couldn't really. I mean, I'd have to go back and like, okay, so what did they say last time? What was in? what was that? What was that one tornado doing? Stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the like with this conversation, the predictability of it is so vast because you're like, so where are they gonna go? Oh, they're talking about the labyrinth. Oh, I mean, like all that stuff. And it's like, then they go to like, oh, Jim Henson and this other stuff. Okay, it's like, and then you go into computers. Like, whoa, wait a second. You went from Muppets to computers. What's going on here?
The human situation, man.
And I also think too is that when you name topics in a title, yes, it may draw because like certain politics or certain things of the day are whatever, but there's a mystery that people still like. People still like a mystery. Whether it's not like crime mystery, but like a mystery of like, okay, so what is this show going to really be about, right? Like if you have a conversation that's wide open, where's it going to go? What is it? There's that mystery component, and that's why I think like there's a game I followed, and still following. It's the Five Nights at Freddy's, right?
Mm-hmm.
That game, Scott amazed like Scott Cawthon from starting doing it his own. He had an idea of where it wanted to go, but it sort of was kind of convoluted, and he sort of had the books after that kind of helped smooth things out. But he created this mystery that just kept going and going and going, and it became more. And of course, he got it out quickly, right? He got the games out like maybe within a year's time with each other. Now, the mystery kept it going, and people kept theories and all this stuff, and it kept that game. Even now, that game is still so big, partly because of the content creators that grew up with it, right? That helped make it big, but also that mystery of just trying to figure out like what's the solution? Like what is good? Mystery can help to some degree of creating intrigue, right? I think that's the word, like intrigue into your show, like what is going on. And so that's sort of the thought. I'm no genius at this. It's just sort of some of it's just an afterthought, like, oh, I didn't think of that before. I sat down like 10, 20 episodes later. It's like, oh, I didn't think that before.
Well, how about that?
That's right. How about that? I take that rope, I get that tornado, and dear Lord, I ride that to Somerville. And boy, those people scared the heck. I'm like, no, it's all right. It's not going to go anywhere. Oh, I'm just kidding. Oh, but it's like, what's that one Dr. Seuss book? Oh, the places you'll go.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Oh, okay, so there's a thought. So I think I could have my show be a bit of a cross between Whose Line Is It Anyway and the Craig Ferguson show. If you remember Craig Ferguson.
Yeah.
He brought on stars, whatever. But the point of the matter is that he could have a conversation about almost anything within the confines of the FCC and all that stuff.
Sure.
he could, I don't know if I'm charming or not, but you could see that there's a flow of conversation and all this stuff. And then you have Who's Line stuff where it's improvish and all this and people can enjoy. So it's a combination between both, and that's why I think they lasted so long for both of them, because they had this sense of intrigue and fun and laughter, whatever.
Sure.
I just don't have a robot skeleton talking in the background. So,
Well, I guess you have your homework now.
no, I'm not that rich. It's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna do that. So, but anyway, all right. I think I'm gonna cut it off here, because again, I've got to get up in the morning, so I've got to get to bed soon. But
Right on.
I want to thank JT, the CEO of Badgers, for coming on, and you are always welcome, sir. I give that invitation to everyone who's come on. Some take it, some don't, but don't fret. It's open to you as well, and so many others. If you want to come on as well, again, before we go ahead and say your promotion. I know it's going to be short, but just go ahead and do it. And
Super
then
short. Right on X.
Yeah.
You see it down there.
Yeah.
Boink. Follow me there, and then link tree's in the description.
He's talking about the @ next to his name right there. We say JT, there's that @ JT Pixel. That's his Twitter. And again, the link tree he has will be down in the description below. And of course, I'm going to say it 1,000 times over, Rumble, YouTube, @Daramoose, fan account, @Veramoose. If you want to come on, contact me at Discord, Twitter X, and my email. My emails, again, all that stuff is down in the description below. The opportunity to come on, big or small, I don't care. As long as you're respectful, you have a mic, we can go from there. Conversations abounding, and you've already seen the possibilities of that. So again, thank you, JT. Thank you all who came to watch. Whether I get likes out of it, whether I get follows out of it, whether I get any donations out of it, the whole point is the conversation, because I tell you what, there are a lot of content creators that stick to their circles and they don't really have too much variety. Understandably so, because they can talk about certain topics and they want to stay there. But just imagine, right? Just imagine if someone like, what's a good one? Steven Crowder's brought on different people, but just imagine if you had Dan Bongino, right? Dan Bongino. He brings on a comedian, or he brings on an artist, or he brings on a homemaker, right? You don't see many content creators do that. So I can understand it's difficult because I have those difficulties too, getting people on, but you don't see very much of that. And I kind of got tired of it, so that's what I'm doing now. So, all right. Thank you, GT. Thank you, anyone team. Look at the description, follow the stuff, and I will see you tomorrow for the solo stream. So, and for the rest of the week. So, see you guys next time. Bye.